ground, and they did lose a few players, but they have also gained a few. Unfortunately, Jake Stringer's just a bit cook. He may even play a couple of quarters in their VFL hit out, but he'll be right. But there's some of the other arrivals, and some of the young players are putting their hand up straight away.
Yeah, with Perryman and Cumming going out of that side, they got a couple of extra first-round picks. So to have 3 picks inside 25 is fair effort for a list as stacked as GWS. So to see 2 of those players in Hannaford and Ango today is a great sign for them to have impressed the coaches enough to give them a run in this game. Yeah, as you said, Dale, both of these sides would have top 4 aspirations. Carlton will have to wait that extra week, but yes, GWS need to be sharp and up and going. They've got a game on Sunday week against Collingwood, who looked pretty good a couple of days ago, so there's no time to waste.
Yeah, Bucks, and with the stability of this team and the experience, particularly of that midfield, these youngsters can come in and have the safety of the big bodies around them, and that way they can find their feet and not get thrown in the deep end. But we wish them all the very best. This is going to be a huge get out tonight, and in what is going to be a big start to both campaigns.
I mean, we've talked already. It feels like endlessly about how tight the competition is, but as we see 2 of the game superstars meet in the middle, you could easily see either of these 2 sides, I think, finishing top 2, top 4. But also, the squeeze can be on, and as the Blues found last year, and it was against the Giants when they were cruising, weren't they? Quarter time, I think it was 8 goals to 3, and after that they won 3 and lost 5 games and bowed out in pretty ordinary style in the first final.
And you look at the Blues, I mean, it was Jack Higgins' goal in the dying moments against the Bombers in their last round. They were actually out of finals until some other results went their way. That is how fine and how tight this competition is. But you'd like to think they learned from these experiences. Yet they were absolutely decimated with injuries last year, the Blues, particularly towards the back end of the year, which ultimately I think caught them and didn't give them a fair shot leading into September. But they start this season with a better bill of health, and hopefully it all goes really well. And particularly Jack Silvani, who we touched on earlier. Missed the whole year of football, hasn't played for quite a while. And also Nick Haynes coming up against his old side after 211 games with the Giants over 13 seasons.
2 areas from Carlton I'll be looking for is their back 6, how they operate together. That second key back role, who takes that, and also their small forwards. Evans coming in their last list spot. Motlop, Fogarty, how do they come together to put the pressure on the opposition? And GWS, for all we've heard about the Orange Tsunami, they actually need to be able to score better from their offensive transition. They're not as a heavy scoring side from turnover as they need to be to become maybe a 5 or 10% version of where they have been the last couple of years. So it really is in the Giants front end and the Carlton back end that I'm most interested in today.
So there's Silvani, as we said, being trialled in defence up against Aaron Cadman, who at any stage could really start to unleash. So the Giants and Carlton get into it, their final hit out since the Amy Community Series. And Patrick Cripps picks up where he left off with a handball to Ducati, who is in charge of the rucks tonight with Mark Pitnett out injured. And this man's at ground. And now just cruising along the wing is Green. We might see a bit more of Toby up into the middle of the ground tonight. Silvani might lead the way out of defence.
And then a little backheel out of bounds on the full.
Missed it, so he gets away with that. But Silvani there in that second key back role. And Cadman, didn't he come on last year? Hogan, who's probably the premier tall forward in the competition, winning the Coleman last year, but was plucking everything the last 2 or 3 years. So a tough ask there for the key backs of the Blues.
Wood got first hands on it, but Carlton are able to win it back. Cripps to Ducati. They get beyond the centre. Himmelberg, Cottrell, Fantasia just wetting on the outside. No Tom Green, of course, tonight in the midfield, but there's plenty of talent like Whitfield. Rather haphazard kick. And Holmes has been forecast playing across half-back. Plays it out to Lucas Camporelli. And that'll certainly warm the hearts of old Blue Baggers. Seeing one of the boys get run. He's had an excellent pre-season, a bit ahead of schedule.
So already Himmelberg out the back against Fantasia, being in 2 one-on-ones. They want him to drop off and be an extra, but the scrappy play early. But Carlton with definitely being able to get quick kicks out of contests and give themselves some field position.
Camporelli gets involved again. Received the hand pass. And they see Mackay. Cottrell keeps on coming. Again, a little slip shot, but it's picked up nicely by Williams in the pocket. And here's a second crack back to the goal square. Well, it seems like the boundary umpire thought it had gone over.
About now you're sucking in the big ones, and there's been a bit of up and back.
Yeah. I think we'll get a feel of what the early rounds will look like. It's going to be high intensity, high speed, and particularly what we saw from the Pies a couple of nights ago, that rebound off half back with speed can be devastating at times.
Keith doing the primary ruck roll tonight for the Giants. Kieran Brooks is listed as being in the team still, but get the John and Eddie to check on that. I'm not sure he's going to see any action. He too has been a bit ill the last couple of days. Williams flashing through onto the boot. And as you can see, just slightly off target.
Massive strength for the Blues, isn't it? Their stoppage game. You know, the reigning Brownlow medal winner in Paddy Cripps. Williams will come in for a little bit of speed, as Vossi said, after missing Jagger Smith. He would have been. The Blues will still be smarting. Their supporters, they would have loved to have seen him in this game and through the early part of the year, but got to wait another season.
Successfully fending off Cripps. How fancy was that from Kelly back to Bedford? Fantasia couldn't quite. The Blues do win it back though. De Koning on the charge. And a long kick. Taylor engaging is Kemp. He's the opposite to Silvani, playing forward rather than back. Motlop, is there a little channel to run through? In the end, he handballs. Cottrell, Mackay, yes! Bounces it home. And the Blues get the first. As we bring in Eddie Betts again.
Yeah, guys, just keep a close eye on Patrick Cripps. Toby Bedford is running with him. Yeah, we know he did some run rows last year, Toby Bedford, but just keep an eye on that. He's looking to run off him with his speed, but around stoppages is trying to bite him out. You'll think Patrick Cripps will be too strong for him around that area.
It's going to be a huge challenge there, isn't it, Ed, just with the differential in size, but we'll have to try and make Cripps be accountable on defence. I love the turnover through the middle of the game. You think about the modern game, keep it in your front half, allow your defenders to get a moment to get stability behind the football. And then they kick to isolation. They've got a one-on-one in front of the football. It was Kemp. And let's just find a way. Surge the ball forward, results in a Mackay goal. It's a lovely start by the Blues.
The tsunami is full pace.
Yep.
And that's probably the issue is if you're trying to go that fast all the time, you need to be nearly perfect. Because if you give up that turnover through the middle of the ground, you're going to be open coming back the other way.
Different avenues to the footy for the two ruckmen. Hewitt, ball on boot, and suddenly it's Mackay charging out full-chested again. It is only a pre-season match, but that is an appetising duel, isn't it, with Taylor and Mackay, two of the very best at their craft.
Tom De Koning, who was talked up by Max Gawn during the week at Captain's Day as a generational player and potentially the next best ruckman in the comp, which is high praise, but he's had 3 or 4 clearances already. 4 or 5 touches to start the day and looking very dangerous.
For a second for Harry Mackay from 40 out. Wallapai had to move a little, but not too much. And Carlton jump away with a fast start. 49 goals, 21 last year for Harry Mackay. And he certainly looks a more confident goal kicker these days, Dan.
Yeah, more convincing in his approach. It was a couple of years ago that we often look back on. But he's tidied that up, gone to work. And this is great centre clearance work from the Blues. They come out the front. Yes, it's a scrappy kick, a little bit junky going forward. But it's not over hands. It gives them a little bit of yardage, just a quick kick, not perfect. Key forward presenting in front, that makes it really difficult for the defender to get any body contact or get a fist in there to spoil that.
And Dell, it was actually a great setup by the Blues for that quick kick out of centre bounce. They left a beautiful hole for Mackay to run into. He started 15, 20 out from goal, marks it at 35 just because of the hole they created.
Gee, haven't we got some forward craft down on the boundary this evening? Johnson and Betts. Keith, headed support. Hacked out by Saad, always master of the unpredictable. Straight to Himmelberg though.
Yours? Yes.
There's a beautiful field kick. That one just misses the mark and misses Brett Daniels.
Nick Haynes come on for his first run as well in the new colours.
And he'll add to the Blues' defensive structure, which looks pretty solid through the middle of the field already. The Giants having to go, either getting cut off through the middle or having to go wide to look for free numbers. So that's a good sign for Carlton early in the match.
Keith wins the mini battle, got the tap. Kelly, Canelio, beaten no. Chera, off to De Koning. Well handled by the ever-reliable Ivan. Just easing back across the defensive 50.
He was really solid last year, wasn't he, Hutto, with that work across the half-back line? I think these guys at times are undervalued, their ability to lock down an opponent, allow some of their more creative players to get to work.
Well, that was creative. It's away with a bounce. Average 19 disposals, career high last year. Getting it up to the 50. Getting involved was James Leake. And the ball scrambled over the line and out of bounds. He's a nice size, James Leake.
188 centimetres. It was a nice first grab. Courage to go back to the flight of the football. And played on quickly, trying to get some options inside forward 50. Well done by Weir, just get a fingertip on that.
He's a Tassie kid, James Leake, from Launceston. Picked 17 in 2023. Didn't get the full fitness until late last year, but he's been really strong so far in the pre-season. Connor Stone, he too will be looking for better health. Got them inside 50, but Haynes takes Carlton out. Off hands. Over and out.
Yeah, the Giants' back six is well established. Harry Mackay with 2 goals already, one on Sam Taylor and one on Jack Buckley. So 2 very good players to match with Iden, I suppose. You have 3 really tall, very good one-on-one players in the back six. You've got to earn your kicks.
Saab through Chera, and the hands keep it moving. To Cooper Lords, gets one forward. Goes no further.
And Bucks, their communication too is just lifted a level in the last, probably since Mackay's goal, actually that second goal that he kicked. Just looking to set each other up a little bit quicker, fill the holes that you were talking about.
Loser 8-0 in the clearance in their favour, so doing some fantastic work, and here's another one.
Jared Cripps, Sard. It's almost into the crowd.
Yeah, Carlton much sharper team in and around the contest. Their hands winning more contested ball. Their hands are really sharp. Round ground ball's 11-6 at the moment, so just getting extra numbers to the contest.
Unforced error from Buckley. Wrong side, it was Callaghan. Buckley gets the kick and then it gets smothered again by Kemp. Motlop had a chance, which is now passed. Cripps with a bit of extra muscle. Wild handball ended up being okay. That was even wilder from Fogarty. Nifty enough in the end. Ball bounces every which way. Cornelio likes the kick and it seemed to have gone far enough for O'Halloran to be paid the mark.
Some really good signs defensively from the Blues. They're just smothers, just getting a fingertip in, but it says they're alert, got their head on a swivel and they're turning the football over.
Well, if Kemp, he obviously has the defensive traits from where he normally plays. If he can bring some of them to the forward line, it does strengthen his claims.
You touched on it before, almost the changing of position between Kemp and Silvani.
See Lucas Camporelli again get involved, took the mark and played it off to Ollie Hollands.
He's had 5 touches already, Hutto.
Yeah. Thumps it beyond the pack. Fogarty, for a split second, until Ash came on the scene. Thought he might have had a chance.
If you're watching at home, I mean, the Blues pressure is right up. There's no time or space for the Giants players. It definitely looks like there's 3 or 4 extra Carlton players than Giants players out in the field at the moment. The work rate, they've just seemed to have extra numbers wherever the ball is.
Koning, Cottrell.
Really good signs for
really
Blues fans after last week. The pracky game, but St Kilda were able to get over the top there, but it's a little bit dour with that game. It's great to be able to see your players pop, and it's really important to get confidence out of these games leading into the opening rounds of the season.
A glimpse there of Max Krzyzewski, who he's going to do some ruck work as well. The young man is primarily a key forward. Nick has got across and knocked it over the line and out of bounds.
It's just another small sign. So you think about, what do you want to see from the Blues? How do you bring the intensity? It's these little moments about the endeavour to turn the ball over in your front half. Yes, it's just a small smother, a little spoiler, keep the ball in your forward 50, but it all adds up. Gives you time in front half, allows your defence to get set.
To Koning. Trapped by Leak. Stones in there. They definitely do get it out. Up to the wing, Silvani in front of Cadman. He was favoured by the bounce. It's over and out. We saw a glimpse too of Francis Evans, who was one of the late additions to the Carlton list. 3rd club for him, 7 games at Geelong, 27 at Port. Adding to their small brigade up forward.
And Hutto, is it true that it was Silvani that went to the coaching staff and said, hey, I think I'm capable at the other end of the ground?
Yeah, I think Michael Voss said that Silvani said, give me a chance.
Holding, chair out, Carlton.
He has
When
played a lot of
90% of the ball goes to Curnow and Mackay, it's probably not a bad call.
Was that a necessity, Jono?
I think so.
Terran Cripps. The team to have scored so far, as you can see, it's a 14-point advantage. Cripps tries to get the weighting right for either Kemp or DeConey. Guy then casts the role of a rover. Ash takes care of business.
No breeze down there, Jono. It seems like all the players at the right of screen, and Carlton have just been dominant. 9-3 inside 50s at this stage.
Yeah, there's not too much light breeze going across the ground. That's why we'll probably see the ball on the outer side wing more often than not tonight.
Stone and then Kelly, and they get the ball all the way up to Cadman on the wing. In the middle to Hogan. He decides to keep moving it across the ground. Now they can go forward through Himmelberg. Delayed the handball, put it in front of Ash. And to dart to the left. Tried to find his right. You can see it was a little untidy. Could have been a free kick. Jones with the handball. Callaghan was on his correct side, but gives it back to Hogan, who kept on coming. The fates of goal further, but at least they're on the scoreboard.
First time the Giants have been able to change angle, as we see a couple of the heavyweights of the competition.
They were half getting angry, and then, oh no, it's only March.
He must have got one just after he kicked it. Is he really going to do that in a Preki game? But they found a little bit more space out in the fat side, the Giants. They probably need to slow the game down a little bit to change that angle, but Carlton's defence been too good at this point.
Young. Now Carlton into half forward to Williams, of course, is also an ex-Giant. He's placed it. Taylor very late on the scene. Kemp was able to hang on, and Mackay's not particularly happy.
I thought it was a little bit disorganised by the Giants. The free kick on centre wing. And that won't please Adam Kingsley any more than the previous passage of play where they had an extra out in front of the play.
Nick, that was because Patrick Cripps went off. Toby Bedford was trying to say, what am I doing? Am I coming off with him?
Yep.
And then Zachy Williams came on and got that ball on the wing here and hit that target.
Sam Taylor's a pretty mild-mannered man normally, but he's a bit grumpy about all that.
Yeah, he was grumpy last year. He wasn't happy missing those games, and whenever he gets beaten one-on-one, he doesn't like it. It's a great trait to have.
Akers tugs it. Crowd.
He's a very unassuming man. He looks like he could be doing your tax with you, Sam Taylor, and then he plays like he does. So he's got a good balance of the white line fever. He's been a hell of a player in his early career.
Big job too. Your tax, Dell, as the ball comes off the hand of Cadman. Kelly through Daniels.
Just have a look at just how good the Blues are in tight. The Giants players no time and space, but Carlton just a little bit cleaner when they get it too. It's there's been a lot of these scrimmages in this game at early stages.
It was a prolonged scrimmage. Here's Haynes. Get anything back to his best. He's All-Australian best. He'll be a massive bonus for Carlton, because this man Wiedering, I don't think there's anyone that carries a bigger defensive load in the competition than Jacob Wiedering.
Yeah, both physically but also in the leadership role as well, the way he gets them organised behind the football.
Yeah, when you look like you've got an extra number at the contest and then you've got an extra number behind it, you know you've got your game set up in good shape.
He's taken the mark, which may be deemed against Francis Evans, who's taken not only Owies' spot, of course Owies decided to go to the West Coast Eagles, but they're giving him his number as well. 44. Spare. Ward, short, not 15. Whitfield unfussed by that. Straight to Hogan.
He's been busy, Jesse, early. Despite the lack of supply. We've had 5 inside 50s now, and he's had a snapper goal last time it was down there. He's had a couple of possessions through the midfield, got up high and worked back.
Yeah, looks in great shape. What a season he had. 77 goals, 26. Previous best was 49 in the season. Sets it up here. And McGovern had eyes for the footy and fed it access as well. Spots Lord on the way out. Most of the players still down that end of the ground. Kai got uncomfortable. Taylor to ground and help from Whitfield, and then Bedford reflex handball. Back to Callaghan, high for Cadman, outnumbered and well positioned there. Silvan.
A couple of really good marks. First one from McGovern and that one from Silvani. They try and plot their way out of D50.
Gowan and Weavering getting their hands on the ball. Fantasia. Identified Williams really opens things up through the middle to Chera. Where's this one going to bounce? Buckley has the first play on it. Oh, boy! You wouldn't want to do that in a real game of football. The ball doesn't necessarily do what you think it's going to. Buckley learns the hard way.
No, he looked like he had that covered at 10 metres, at 8 metres, at 6 metres with a metre to go. But it kept running, didn't it? And didn't come back up to him. And no, you wouldn't want to see that highlight later in the week, no matter what time of year it is, Hutto. But it was the kick by Fantasia to Williams that really opened that up. Yeah, the Giants were pretty well set up defensively. They were trying to take the uncontested marks away, but left a bit of a gap through the corridor. And Carlton were ready to take it. That's a consolidated 20 minutes of football for the scoreboard to look the way it does.
We'll put that down as a pre-season learning experience. Wouldn't want that to happen next week.
A reminder of how good Adam Chera can be too, I think. He's had his bedeviled by injuries last year. I think he was leading their best and fairest till late in the 2023 season. He was struck by injury and hasn't really been able to recover fully since, but looks in good shape for the start of a new one.
We're getting a chance to talk to Adam Kingsley at quarter time. I'd be really interested to see what he has to say about
I don't think we'll be in a great mood, Bucks. Cottrell gets the flying snap.
You say it's just blown out a few cobwebs. You sort of nearly got to go that way, but it's
they were average last week against Sydney. I know it was only match sim, but
what are you asking about the clearances? It's 12-2. And I know it is a practice match, and you're going to try and find positives and growth areas out of it, but this midfield already is far too good to be able to be minus 10 in that particular area.
Great.
Without Kieran Briggs, of course, for the moment at least.
And Tom Green, I understand that. They've still got quality in there.
The umpires are pretty.
It's been hot on the 15. Yeah. We should expect that early in the season proper as well, by the way.
And that'll drop off by about round 5.
Nick, let's be kind, please, at the start of the year.
I enjoyed all that.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Always so adversarial.
Do you like the call, guys? Do you like the call of play on with these short kicks?
If they're under 15, I think it's a great call.
Yeah.
Jono?
Collins guides it, wants it back, didn't get the pretty close to a scoop. Cripps underneath. Holds on to the Caporelli kick, and then a very cautious-looking guided kick in towards Mop. Ash thumps it out. Caporelli goes again. Ward. And the hands were good. Link got involved. He's made a strong start. Downfield. Advantage. Jones, hands off. Brent Daniels has had a full pre-season. Waits. Gives to the inside. Toby Green. This is better. That's not the finish they're after. It's more like the start.
They've probably had about 4 or 5 goes at that, running off half-back with hands. It's the first time they've been able to get through the Carlton frontal pressure. And probably should have finished there.
Saad just wandering back into play. Out to Camporelli.
He's been good early, hasn't he?
I guess they've got Walsh to come back into round 1, so right on the edge of selection, I would think. But if he has a big game the way he's going at the moment, you never know. Play round 1. Fogarty dumps it back. Williams just settled, had a long glance forward. I think he was passing to Mop. It's hard to tell by the kick.
I think the concern for the Giants at the moment has been their team defence, the ability for the Blues to move the ball from what is the Giants' forward line, pretty much the length of the ground. Those inside 50s as a result, 13-7.
Yeah, that together with the clearances doesn't help, does it?
Gives you field position.
Short again on the way out.
And the other thing that we're always going to track on the Giants is their ball movement. Can they go to a different mode if they can't get the tsunami going? This is a great example of it. So they're held up. What's their method to get the ball into their front half? It won't help.
Buckley, yes. It's a little untidy again. I'd have him a good look, Akers. At least gets it out of bounds.
So once again, that is fantastic pressure from the Blues.
Yeah.
That is a pat on the back to their team defence. putting the opposition into two minds about whether to try and go fast. Can they go wide? Is there an option through the middle? They get out of bounds.
Probably the third time Jesse Hogan's had a touch in the defensive midfield as well. And if your key forward's going up, they give the extra number.
To Koenig, Mackay, sort of running to where he thinks it might land. Williams, Fogarty knew that he had to shrug his way through the stone tackle. Umpire reasonably generous was the interpretation. Great tackle from Williams. Now, is he going to pay it was clearly touched, the umpire saying not the advantage, even though the player took it and had a shot.
On my arm out here, guys.
I thought no advantage is irrelevant. If you take it, you take it.
Well, sometimes that's right.
Maybe it was a bit too close to the whistle in the decision.
It was very quick, in fairness. Maybe
1 metre to your right. Yep. Thanks, mate.
this guy's looking pretty comfortable in the forward fifth, and he did.
He had some
fairness straight
fantastic
away.
game. He had some great games last year, Hutto.
Runs around, does what he needs to. Zach Withers puts it through. 15 goals, 7 once he went forward last year. Most he kicked in the season before that was 7. Of course, he was a defender for the Giants, went to Carlton. He was going to be the midfielder. Then they realised that didn't suit him.
Well, it's just a matter of him being. This was probably a bit lucky that he didn't get holding the ball here. That was a really good tackle by Connor Stone there. But if Zach Williams gets a full season, then he'll be used in any position on the field. He is an A-grade player who, when he puts games together and he really builds a depth of preparation in him, he goes to another level again. So he hasn't been able to do that the last couple of years.
I remember speaking to him post-game after one of those great performances. I think he kicked 4 off the top of my head. And I asked him about it. I said, you're going forward. And he was pretty honest about it. He said, I'm almost getting squeezed out the back half. I've got to find another avenue to be a part of the team.
Wasn't he? Yeah.
And he's embraced it. He's done a really good job.
Out to 25 points now. Having a look at that replay, did your mind change at all on the advantage or not?
No, but I thought it was holding the ball prior to that. I should have never got there.
Depth on the kick from Cripps. Mackay.
So this clearance work has just been brutal by the Blues. 14-2. If you can't compete in that part of the game, it almost makes you non-competitive.
Play on both engaged.
Might show you how important Kieran Briggs is, to the Giants, but I think it does say that they're just not competitive enough at ground level.
Flying shot for goal.
And as we've touched, also Tom Green. I'm a massive fan of, in a league full of Bulls, he's the biggest in the paddock, in my opinion.
You never want to be too reliant on those players, though. I mean, they're as much as they do a power of work for you, these are opportunities for others to stand up around, and they're not inexperienced.
McGavin. Wasted completely.
Maybe 50. Kick a goal off the back of it.
Wasted because I was talking home, you weren't commentating, and also because it's a cracking game.
Yeah. Got to learn your lessons, folks.
Sorry, mate.
That's okay. What's he doing? We could just replay it and call it again.
You probably will.
So he got 50 as well. The mark was so good. The umpire said, get a bit closer to goal. And Mitch, in his 7th year at Carlton, 30 years of age now. Settled in defence, but played plenty of footy forward in his time. For 5 goals to nothing, opening quarter. And the mood of the Giants coach isn't improving just at the moment. And the Blues boys are pretty excited by that after the big night.
Rightly so.
We'll be speaking to him in about 5 minutes, so I'm very interested to see what he has to say. It was Sam Mitchell yesterday was talking about it, and what a great ride that was. He just had the sit. He'd love that. Who was the young fellow that ran underneath him? He'd love to have a sit like that every time he wanted to try and take a mark, and he does pluck them very well. But yes, Sam Mitchell yesterday at halftime was pretty strong on his players, saying that we just weren't strong enough around the ball. I'd expect something similar, I would have thought, from Adam Kingsley.
Yeah, he's not one to pull his punches normally, is he, Adam Kingsley? Still 4 minutes remaining in this opening term. Quite close to playing a ruck free kick there. Put the whistle away. Keep going. The leak has been a positive for them. Whitfield's kick is very wide. And got caught in the crush. Job done for Silvani and Cowan.
Coming in here.
It's not a bad way to allow your back six to knit when you're winning so much ball out of stoppage and out of the midfield, and you're playing the game on your front foot. It just gives you a chance to set up just a little bit more extra space. There's been no pressure on the Carlton back six yet.
Nick again thrasted onto the boot. Akers.
It's that kick there. That's the one. They just relieve the pressure. Giants not up on their opponents, keeping that in their front half.
Running hard out of defence to Cottrell, delivers to Kemp. There's still overlap run. You saw Ollie Hollands running off half back. He didn't get the handball, but that just shows their spirit at the moment. Iden takes it away as the Blues have to go into defensive mode now. Well done, McGovern. Lucas Camporelli in the pursuit. O'Halloran, stronger in body at this stage. Crawl along the boundary line. Hogan stretches it out to O'Halloran. Power running from him. And the Blues have all the reinforcements. Cowan by Wheatery. Keeps it low, up to McGovern, into Lord. Again, terrific cohesion. Carlton to full forward. And Kemp got the jump on Taylor. Spotted where it was going first. And takes the mark. Pretty close to goal.
Well, it's been clinical, particularly off that turnover. We've spoken about their stoppage work, which has been exceptional, 15-4. So they're plus 11 in that part of the game. But this is your main source of scoring. And this will be really pleasing all Blues supporters. Putting that ball through work rate off the half-back line and then using it in an efficient mode to get it forward to 50.
Kicked 4 goals against the Eagles. And of course the Blues just overwhelmed by injury numbers late in the season. So he went forward, and that's where he remains at this stage. Brody Camp just back on over fresh. So the ball could be even greater.
Straight out. Straight out.
Callahan's been in the headlines, of course, deciding to show his loyalty and turn down a massive offer from...
He's got high footy IQ, but I don't know if that was his smartest decision, knocking back 1.7 Hutto. I think it just shows what they've got building and what he believes in at the Giants, what they've done in his time already there.
I don't think he'll be on the street with the number that he's getting to stay.
He'll cover milk and bread for a little while.
He's got Sam Taylor to do his tax.
Cal Ward up towards half forward. Halloran back to Toby Green.
They've got all phases of the game covered at the moment, the Blues. Winning it at the source, the contested possession game. Their ball movement's been exceptional. They've been loving their team defence, working as a system.
Yeah, just make sure it goes over.
Whitfield with 10 touches off the back. The ball's been down there a little bit, so he's had the chance to rack them up, but not a lot of hurt factor compared to his normal game.
Keefe with the fist. Kelly. Back over again. So the last minute of what's been a very impressive opening quarter from Carlton. Lucas Camporelli, equal leading possession winner with 8. Just one of the many pluses. His old man, of course, Scott, played 233. Taking it, picked 54 after his brother Ben. Giants still striving for their first goal and might come with that passage of play. Koenig and Saad. It's a nice, solid crowd, isn't it? Enough Blues fans to muster a woof for Saad's kicking. Scrambling.
It becomes quite infectious, doesn't it, when you know that the half-backs are delivering the ball well, then you move really well as forwards, but the work rate in front of the ball looks pretty impressive. Brody Kemp hitting up before, and maybe the Giants' backs are just dropping off a little too early. Need to be tighter on their players, and that might be something that the backline coach will be talking about at quarter time.
Looks to Camporelli again, to half forward. He just had to wait for it to bounce. Didn't really favour him. Stone, earnest look on his face as he kicks to Cadman. Muster a goal in the last 12 seconds. Toby had the chance. Look at the Carlton players get around Cowan for the spoil.
Yeah, the morale's been high, hasn't it? Saw them celebrating after a goal, going to the person that delivered the kick to the goal scorer. And then equally so with a simple spoil. 5 or 6 Blues getting over to say well done.
Cowan with a watching brief on green from the throw. We know how dangerous you can be, but job done as far as Carlton are concerned in the opening quarter. 5-5-35 to just 2 behinds. Very impressive start by Carlton. Mixture of young and old, but very happy with what they've seen so far in Canberra on a really hot day. All the shows are back, as we said, and the coaches will be a big part of it. Dean Cox, special guest, along with Damien Hardwick, Jared and Gary. Or is it Gary and Jared? On AFL 360.
All right, g'day folks, welcome in to the coverage of the GWS Giants taking on the Carlton Blues. And of course, it's all been Carlton in the opening quarter here, 5-5-35, leading the Giants. Just the 2 solitary behinds, 2 behinds, there we go. And Carlton certainly looks sharp in this game. Of course, they've had all the run, they've had all the play, actually, in the opening quarter, as the score suggests. The Giants struggling to find any run at all, and even going up forward, the Giants struggling there a little bit. Jesse Hogan being well tagged there. Carlton finding plenty of space down there in their forward line. Let's welcome in to the live chat here on the game. Of course, David and Carly and everyone else there watching. I don't think we can win. I tell you what, well, quite possibly, but you know what, as I say, in these preseason games, the game before the AFL 2025 season starts, they just want to have a good hit out here today. And of course, they want to get through the game unscathed. They don't want any injuries. So the Giants, you know what, the Giants actually look like they're probably going at about 65%. Carlton look like they're going at about 90%, 95%. So Carlton certainly having more attack on the ball. But some of these preseason practice match games, you do see one team get out to a bit of a lead and the other team sort of come home strong in the second half. But the weather up here today looks pretty good. Doesn't look too hot for the players. Ground looks like it's in perfect condition there at Manuka Oval there in Canberra. So it should be in for a good game. We do hope that Giants put a little bit of a fight on, get the score ticking over. As we always say, a close game is a good game. It's going to be hard. Yeah, look, it could be hard for the Giants to get up and win. But, you know, that being said, you don't really worry whether you win or lose. You just want to get your players to get a little bit of touch, a bit of this match play, good match play against the Blues, come out unscathed and be all set, ready, prepared for round 1 next week, which should be a cracker. We'll have a look at the goal scorers there. Harry Mackay, Zach Williams, Mitch McGovern and Adam Kera, the only goal scorers there for Carlton. Of course, the Giants, no score yet. Harry Mackay, the only multiple goal scorer on the ground with 2 goals from his 2 kicks. Let's have a look at a disposal getter. And I think when we head to the team stats, I think we'll see Carlton well ahead on most of them. But Lockie Whitfield there, and Lucas Camporelli both leading the way on 10 respectively for both sides. Both good opening quarters from them with 10 disposals. Zach Williams there for the Blues with 9. Josh Kelly with 9. And we'll just roll down a little bit. Lockie Ash with 8 there. Adam Saad there with 6. Let's have a look for Jesse Hogan. We had a comment there. How are they going? And Toby Green. Well, Jesse Hogan, he's had 6 disposals. He's had 4 kicks, 2 handballs, 3 marks, and kicked 1 goal. I think that was through a snap. But, yeah, he's been well held. But, you know, the big man, he's got a long season ahead. So as long as he gets a bit of touch, he wants to get a little bit of the lead up from the players, which he hasn't really had. So he hasn't really had much of a chance to have shots on goal. Callum Ward there with 4. Harry Mackay there, as I said, 4 touches, 2 goals. As we run down to Toby Green, they're asking about Toby Green. Well, he's there. He's had 2 disposals. He's only had the 2 kicks. He hasn't had a handball mark or tackle yet. He's just kicked it behind. He's just doing it pretty cruisily is Toby Green. Let's just have a quick look at the team stats. Well, there we go. That's a little bit surprising to me. Only 12 disposals ahead is Carlton. Where when you're watching it, it does look like they've had the ball most of the time. There we go, 69-53 on the kicks. The Giants are actually ahead on the handballs. Inside 50s, Carlton 18 for their 10 scoring shots, not too bad. 10 inside 50s for 2 scoring shots, 2 behinds for the Giants, but the Blues defence holding up well. Free kicks, the Giants in favour there, 5-1. The hit outs pretty level. Clearances, Carlton dominating there, 18-5. Centre clearances the same way, 5-1, as the stoppage clearances, Carlton well and truly on top there. All right, let's head back down to the ground with the commentators, and they'll take us to the bounce of the ball for the second quarter, where it's the Blues by 33.
Brad Johnson. And Adam Kingsley is going to join him shortly. But, I imagine he'd be smarting a bit, Del, from that first
Yeah, he won't be thrilled. You think about the perfect preparation. That definitely wasn't it for that 30 minutes. And you look at some of those key stats, and it tells the story. Now, to only have, a handful of inside 50s with this talent that you got, there's an area of improvement. But I think it's been the team defence, or therefore lack of the Giants, that will be concerning Adam Kingsley the most.
Still making their way.
Sorry, there's no lack of experience in this Giants team as well. So they're 3/4 away from completing their preseason. You've done a power of work at this time. You don't like to look up at the scoreboard and see this discrepancy in a match.
Let's get down to John.
Well, a deliberate delay there, mate, just walking off to the boundary line. But at that first quarter, obviously the stoppage game, that's where your A game is. Yes, you've got one of your key players on the sidelines, but what was the message through the midfield?
Oh, Tom Green and being out had nothing to do with that. I mean, the reality is they out-hunted us. They were harder and tougher, quite simply. And then they were able to get the ball moving forward. We were a bit sloppy behind the ball with our defence. I mean, that's something that we're hoping to rectify right now.
How do you do that? Yes, you can verbally say that. The actions are about to come, but what else do you need from your players?
Well, I think it's about attitude and physicality. And for that first quarter, we were clearly beaten in that aspect.
We appreciate your time.
No worries. Thanks.
Good luck, second quarter.
Big thanks to Adam Kingsley. Thank you, Jono. As they looked like they had some determination about that first stoppage, didn't they? They got it forward. And Carlton now are crowded out pretty quickly.
It's a great thing about a match, a game of football, that these next 5 minutes, you get the Giants' response, and Carlton is still going to bring energy, so this becomes a butting of heads in the next 5-6 minutes to re-establish the balance of the game.
Callahan got it out. Ward diving on top of it. It's Haynes and Weavering found his way through. Here's Akers on the way out. Versus Evans. Who's and ahs the crowd. I mentioned again, it's just a nice crowd in for a pre-season game. Giants really do attract pretty good numbers these days in the nation's capital.
Yeah, and traditionally an entertaining brand of football as well, Hutto. So, rightly so, people are excited that the footy's back to start the new year.
Brent Daniels has a couple of hacks at it. Ward, Cripps, Kelly, another faux sort of fight there on the boundary line. A lot of respect between those two.
Cripps had the 8 disposals in that first quarter. As Eddie Betts mentioned, getting closely looked after.
Toby Green's gone into the middle and has Paddy Cripps in his sights as well. A bit of a handover there, but wouldn't mind seeing those two go head-to-head for the next 4 or 5 stoppages.
Like Toby to stir things up a bit. Callie moving beautifully to the inside is Whitfield. It wasn't perfect through the air, was it? But it got there. Onto the chest of Hogan.
And already that clearance game looks different to what we saw in the first quarter. Even though the delivery wasn't necessarily a perfect drop punt. Jesse Hogan, last year's leading goal kicker in the competition, was fantastic. Stood up in big moments, was consistent throughout the course of the year. Had as much tension from the opposition as he's ever had and still delivered.
Absolutely. Kicked 5 last time these two sides met in that round 17 game last year. It's hanging a bit to the right, but it still got through. And at last the Giants have something to look up onto the scoreboard and smile about. Their first goal kicked by their premium goal kicker, Jesse Hogan.
I wonder what Jason Dunst will be thinking of that run-up when he sits on the couch. Watched it. Very effective for Jesse Hogan, but maybe not for many others. But it just shows you how individualised this game is, and the mindset Yeah, he has been, as you said, Dal, absolutely on song the last 2 or 3 years, and even more so come finals time. Get to the pointy end, he just looks like the most dangerous player in the field. Sticky hands and then the ability to be able to finish. He's really grown into himself, mentally, emotionally, physically, the best version of himself as a player now, which is great to see.
Yeah, I think everyone's thrilled with that too, aren't they, Dal?
Absolutely.
When he was talking about pre-game one day about that kicking style, so all he worries about is those last 3 or 4 steps. As long as they're a bit more normal and conventional and getting through it, that's all he worries about. But
there's an old golf saying, I think it can be related to Jesse Hogan's goal kicking approach, and it's not how, it's how many. As long as it continues to be 6, I don't think they'll care what he does prior to the impact of the ball, Hutto.
There's a lot of old golf sayings. I'm not sure all of them are true, but here's Cal.
Those words.
Kicks it back to the wing. Fantasia outsized there by Himmelberg, who has the agility to be able to play on talls or smalls. Callahan, plenty of grunt distance on the kick. Rashevsky maybe got a shove from Silvani. That was a hard hit, wasn't it, from Cal? And Jones rattled a few bones.
He's a very competitive player, like really, really tough and strong, fit. You know, hard to beat in a one-on-one contest, Cal.
And with Newman going down, his role probably is more significant than ever. Jones, Bedford, tosses it up. Ward has to wait. 4 Blues coming at him. Crash into the turf. They did well not to give away the free kick. Heller into Ash. You could see his target.
That was great by Ward. I was just watching him out the back as he's unselfishly passed it over to Callahan. He sat under that ball knowing he was going to get crunched. And we've known Cal Ward for long enough. He wasn't going to flinch either. He got bowled over, got back up onto his feet, and got the next delivery inside 50.
It's not all about stoppage, but the Giants are 5-zip this quarter. Callahan's had 2. Lockie Keefe's had 2. Toby Green's got in there and had some important touches. So that response that Kingsley was looking for through the middle of the ground is definitely there.
Callahan, he too has just been able to squeeze it through. I think acknowledging there it wasn't his best kick, but it's a goal. And as a result of that stoppage, I reckon a lot of people would be interested for both of you, maybe with you first, Bucks. If you had to break down a percentage of a clearance, how much of it is skill and technique? How much of it is, say, setup? And how much of it is just, maybe determination or will or whatever? And how much is just dumb luck?
I'll discount the last part. I mean, it is absolutely all set up, and it is
but
all,
it's luck
all
as to where
intensity.
the ball goes, isn't it? A bit, where it comes off the hand of the ruck.
So the rucks have normally got 1 or 2 hit zones. So I think if you go to any clearance around the ground, you roughly know, regardless of which team you're on, where that ball is going to go.
I nearly think playing to a losing ruck can be just as effective to playing to a winning ruck, as much as you just got to know what your setup is and what part of that stoppage that you own, and then you've just got to be more intense and cleaner than your opposition.
Koenig sends it close to the line. Stone didn't really have far to go.
I'll answer the luck part by saying it's not luck what Tom Green does. It's not luck what Paddy Cripps does. It's not luck what the best clearance players do. They're just tougher, harder and cleaner than their opposition more often.
Okay, rather than luck, then there is some random, though, isn't it, about any given clearance?
Yeah, the ball's oval. That is an inherent aspect of our game.
Cottrell on the boot, but again, he's just off target.
You look at the stoppage and its purity, and it's the essence of the game. It is competitive. You've got roughly 6 to 8 people standing around it, and Bucks, I completely agree. It's those that can execute their role, and a lot of it's just through toughness and willing themselves onto a contest that ultimately get it done more often than not. And probably Cripps and Green are 2 of the best in the competition in that area.
Ash came to a standstill, but he can accelerate away. Leaves Evans behind. Kicks it smoothly enough to Taylor. Still looks pretty worried. He goes short to Cornelio. Quite coming up to the end of the financial year, are you? Last time we mentioned it. Cornelio. Back across half-back. Iden. To Buckley.
So Carlton absolutely dedicated themselves to the skinny side of the ground there, didn't they?
They did. So there was spaces to work within to half-forward Wiedering. Good learning experience for Max Kraszewski, isn't it? Playing up against Jacob Wiedering for now.
He actually had a bit of leverage there, Graszewski, but could not move him. Could not. He's a big boy, Jacob Wiedering, and against the biggest forwards in the competition, he stands up. He's been a great one-on-one player, really beaten.
Coney. Well read though by Toby Green, trying to get past Sard with only partial success. Akers. McGovern turned into the tackle of Callahan. Leak. Kelly, call from the outside from Himmelberg. Disrupted kick, found its way to Keith from the pocket. Awkward for Hollands, who had to reach up knowing that there was plenty coming at him. Wiedering. Iden, at the best vantage point, takes them up.
Carlton definitely in number around that contest. You were expecting when the ball spilled out that maybe the Giants would have extra numbers, but Carlton's desperation, a couple of smothers in a row there.
Ducati timed his run and impact from the side. Look at that hack kick out of there by McGovern. Every bit of 50. Ash, the speedy Cottrell looking to close. There's that acceleration again from Lockie Ash, and he used it so well. Callahan still found the left boot, sold it well, but with a kick through the air. Hard to get a full read on where that was going to end up. Cadman, still a bit scratchy. Jones gets to his feet and crashes to ground immediately. Keefe, Cornelio, Hollands. Scramble kick, they're well set behind the play. Stone to Ash.
Well, it's the Blues that are committing a lot of numbers into D50, which is leaving all the Giants through the middle of the ground.
Iden versus Evans. Iden, very rare venture into the 50. Got very little sympathy from the umpire.
Yeah, Blues with their backs against the wall there for that last 90 seconds, but their desperation was just enough to get a hand in to affect most of the Giants' touches. There wasn't any clean football there because of the Blues' pressure. And maybe the ball's flat. We've seen a few spots being kicked, haven't we?
Getting rid of a few of the cobwebs.
Fantasia. Made Chera work for it. Back to McGovern. They still have to peer further back into the defence to find an exit. Now they do. Wiedering to Camporelli. A bit tall on him. Jones. Camporelli keeps his balance. And pass further afield for Williams, who goes tumbling down. Jones just kicking it forward. The expectation that it's going to come back. McGovern to Silvani. Now to Coney. Some overtures back through the middle of the ground, but he keeps it out towards Kemp. Out position that time by Taylor.
That's what we've come to see from Sam Taylor as that key defender. He's an honest defender. He doesn't roll off a great deal. He's happy just to beat his opponent one-on-one. And Kemp, experienced or relatively experienced across that half-back line, then applied his craft more forward towards the back end of last year. And now with another pre-season under his belt, predominantly as that forward. Wish him all the best.
Kelly eases onto the left boot. Cadman rises up to take the mark. Stepped in well, Fogarty, but no, free kick is paid after the Hannaford kick.
Hannaford, the first draft pick for Giants over the off-season. He'll get the pace of the game. You sort of feel like even if you've got 3 or 4 seconds, you feel like you're about to get stuck every time you get the ball when you go up that level, but he will find the pace.
Daniels, pretty much plumb in front. Been a much better second quarter from the Giants, but a couple of misses to go with it.
It was great signs there from Cadman. Had some really good moments last year, growth, and being able to sit one back with Jesse Hogan as the predominant forward. And his Giants tend to take the next step. You'd love to think that his game evolves, bring in Jake Stringer as the new addition through the trade. Toby Green continues to do what he does. This forward line's very potent. Cause some huge headaches for opposition defenders.
McGovern, eventually it's Haynes. Slightly off the instep, but it wobbles its way back to Camporelli. Takes the mark, still at left half back. It's
playing himself into a round one team, Camperali.
It's good we'll be able to have that debate about Camperali or Camperali or Camperali too for another 15 years. Grips to Cockrell. Back to the square. Vulnerable was Kemp, but fantastic mark from the side. Maracho Fantasia.
What has Scott said? It's Campriali?
I think it ended up being Camperali, didn't it? Speaking of names that
Lucas and
occasionally have changed over the year, there was a campaign at one stage.
Fantasia.
Stand there, up and down.
And over his time at Carlton, some Carlton fans have questioned him getting games. Obviously, Vossi had worked with him at Port and been a fan, but he does have some attributes when he's fit and firing, and he's able to jam it through. He's capable of some exciting footy. He's generally a beautiful kick. He puts that through.
Well, if you can do more of that coming from the offside, just drifting across that pack, he might have a bit of a grass rush across the top of the left eye as he's come down and scuffed his own face. That's a lovely grab.
He'll take that.
Yep, it's worth it.
We don't see that in his game that often, to be fair. He's a ground level player, relies on his speed and his smarts. But it's good to see him up and about. He's had a wretched run with injury over the last maybe up to 3-4 seasons. So coming across and being able to find his way with Carlton, hopefully he can play the full season out.
Scotty and brother Ben as well. He's just on the injury list at the moment.
First guy drafted got to get Dad's number, apparently.
Yeah. Daniel's out to the right. Cornelio. Haynes, you can hear the groans again from the Giants fans thinking Cadman deserved the free kick. And that's the way the umpires.
That's not bad forward craft when he was clearly out of position, Cadman, and I thought Haynes actually did that pretty well. I might be corrected on the replay, but I thought Cadman allowed himself to go out of the contest even more and accentuated that, because Haynes had his eyes on the ball the whole time.
Wow.
That's earning a goal. You get that? No.
We are starting to see more glimpses, aren't we, from Cadman, I think, of what he could be.
That mark he took a couple of minutes ago was awesome. You look at that, you think, okay.
You think about the growth of a young man, you might see, you might see a moment from time to time, think that's why he went number one. Then it's about how often can you do it, how consistent you can be week in, week out. And when you are having a down game or the ball's not getting delivered, how do you impact the game? That's an area of Jesse Hogan's game that we've seen evolve, particularly last year, and that'll be the evolution of someone like Cadman as well.
Over the last 2 years, it's been consistent growth with him.
Late last year, he started playing.
Absolutely, more than just moments. He was starting to play really strong roles in the Giants' best football.
Do you feel like there's an undertone of it's not going fast enough? Why isn't he going faster?
Too impatient.
Yep.
He's still got to grow into his body. He played as a small player in the underage system, and grew late.
Tremendous anticipation there from Camperelli to get the intercept going. They've turned it back the other way now. Callahan, kick designed for Bedford. Camperelli up to 13 touches. With Whitfield, Ash and Kelly on the ground so far. Keeps it short. So a similar equation for Cornelio. Back for Callahan again.
It's getting busy this quarter.
So the time at forward half been a very different story in this quarter to the first.
It's his 8th touch.
Tails off a bit. Big jump from Cadman. Motlop tried to ride the bump, but not with a grin. Holding the ball.
I think he got his foot to that. So technically that shouldn't be holding the ball, but the umpire on the other side, it was a good chase down tackle.
Thanks, Harry. Take him out.
Darcy Jones, let's have a look at Bucks' right.
Take him out, please.
Sometimes when they throw it up first, the umpires just go, no, bad luck. So Jones, the coach, saying during the week, he just smiles every time he sees him get the footy, even on the training track. He brings not only joy, but plenty of skill to this Giants team. Darcy Jones, still just 20 years of age. he puts it through, and the Giants have been a completely different team in this second term.
Well, that's highlighted, I guess, their dominance and a complete reversal of what we saw in the first quarter. This is good forward pressure. What we didn't see in the first quarter was the ability to lock it in, chase down, tackle. But their clearance work has been tidied up, which results in more inside 50s, and then a little bit of scoreboard pressure. A little bit of a whack on the back of the head, but Motlop got up. That's another nice finish. I was interested in a conversation, just back to the Cadman evolution of the key forward. Tom Hawkins said some interesting stuff on Wednesday night out at Icon Park, and it was, how long does it take a key forward to be ready to grow in, into your body? He said 4 to 5 years, but the bit that actually triggered for me was he said 10 to 15 kilograms. So it's not about necessarily the experience; it's about physically how you're able to stack up and do it. So there is a piece where you just need to bide your time a little bit with someone like a Cadman. Yes, he's agile. He doesn't need to put on probably 15, but it does take time.
Jarrett breaks impressively out of the middle and has Carlton on a path towards goal again. Kemp's body flying everywhere. Buckley back through Ash. Last line of defence. Ivan and a long look. And he spots Bedford. He too goes for a fly. Whacked away by Halloran. Grabbed by Sard. Deep to full forward again. And Kemp showing that he can command the air. Takes the mark. We'll go back and line up. We saw Adam Kingsley down there. Jono, has his mood improved a bit in the second term?
It hadn't until right then, no. But no, it had actually. He's been talking to his leaders a lot as they've been coming off the ground for their spell, which I think is really important, but not in sort of that angry way. It's just a good conversation in regards to his expectations of what he delivered at quarter time.
Any politicians around today down there at all, Jono? Because we are getting close to an election.
Eddie Betts is there right next to me. So, no, I haven't seen anyone today.
Kemp right in front. Ooh, yep, that'll work.
He's a sneaky aerial player, isn't he? A little undersized, plays third. So have a look at this. This speaks to a little bit of skill and planning. No luck in that. You still need to win that contest, and a dominant ruckman and that hit out to advantage can be absolutely compelling and obviously damaging to the opposition, but DeConning just too good for Krzyzewski there, and Kemp's aerial stuff, whether it's behind the ball or in front of the ball, I think he's a really good depth player for Carlton at the moment. I'm not sure if they see him as a first 22 player. He might be playing in Charlie Curnow's spot at the moment, but he plays well whenever he's in.
Imagine back to 26 points. He's trying to take the space, got the hand to it, tapped it down. Daniels, did he duck?
High tackle, GWS.
One of the umps deemed it a high tackle. That's all it takes. Bit of a scrap going on off ball between Cripps and Toby. He's keeping us mildly entertained as well. Captain pull out of the fly there. Hogan may be obstructed. McGovern dumped unceremoniously. Leak, he's really thrown his body around for a young man. 35 metres out from goal is where we find another ball up.
A couple of good moments there from Ollie Hannaford as well. A couple of good tackles. Head over the football.
Bendigo Boydell, Sandhurst, ladies junior footy.
They're all good from Sandhurst, I know.
John was talking about Adam Kingsley talking to his leaders. Brett Daniels get that last clearance. We saw Toby Green go in there earlier. Have to put Finn Callahan in that leadership class as well with his experience and position he's taken in this team as well.
It has been a great response. Another example of to the centimetre.
And as a result, it's all rushed.
I like the idea of if there is a question mark on whether it's 15.
Has he done a hamstring or something, or is he just tripped? Gavin. Huge stunt from Iden. Everyone thinks it's going out. Decides to be difficult, the football, as it can. Keith to fall forward. Back to Mitch McGovern in a moment. Chera places the kick for Doherty. Back to Cornelio, who dabs it with a central corridor to Toby Green.
And that's a great result for McGovern. He needs to get off the ground. He tried to join back in 3 times there. Remind him that it is late February and it is a pre-season game.
It's the anti-Bont, isn't it? Bont came off as soon as he felt any sign of tightness.
Yeah, don't need to prove yourself.
He's holding it down around his ankle or Achilles.
Just what you don't need.
No.
I'd like to have another look at it because it was innocuous. Didn't seem to be anything untoward.
Toby Green, meantime, has missed by the proverbial.
He had the yips early last year, didn't he? When he got those touches.
He did.
When he
That was
had touches,
strange,
he
yeah.
couldn't finish quite as well.
High ball back to the wing. Leadering. There's Disruptor. Got a stone.
Couldn't pick up much there.
No.
That was
Just had a look at that replay.
innocuous. Not to Mitch McGovern by the same though.
Well, we're just having that. Let's let this unfold, sorry.
Green slips the Motlop tackle. Left him in his wake. Sends it to full forward. Cadman. Let it fly all the way to the post.
But we're just talking about Brody Kemp, and you mentioned whether he's in their best team or not. The conversation around, do you need that swing man? Do you need someone that can fill in at either end of the ground at any particular time? And whether they want to hold him now as the key forward for the remainder of this game, or is it an opportunity for him to go back and just support a little bit in defence?
Keith. A full standstill. Oh, that might have been a little bit too much precision required. Lucky for that one. Marked by Chera.
Mitch McGovern's been used as a small back who drops off. I actually like the idea of McGovern playing on bigger players and using his aerial strength more frequently, but Silvani and Wiedering are the key backs at the moment.
Kemp couldn't quite get the shot for goal. Sadu rarely gets this close to goal, but he doesn't miss and enjoys the moment. Adam Sard puts it through. He kicked 11 goals.
Well, he's a high bouncing player, Hutto, and I think we're going to see why his bounces are through the roof when you look at his stats at the end of the year. So he gets this handball receive. It's no more than 4 steps and he sneaks in a cheeky bounce. It's a lovely finish at speed.
Talking about development of players like Cadman and the different strength that needs to come. Remember Adam Sard when he first started with Essendon, he'd go for a run. 3 or 4 bounces through the middle and he'd be coughing up a lung the next 5 minutes just to try and get his legs back under him to go again. But now he's improved that repeat speed. We see it more often. He's able to moderate and control his energy expenditure, I suppose, and become a much better player as he's gone along.
Surprised he's only kicked 11 goals in his career, because he can run off half-back and get forward. But
yeah, I am.
I thought it would have been more than that.
Can we give those numbers, Hutto? Would have thought it was more, particularly in the modern game where they've got a licence to get further forward.
Yeah, almost 200 gamer too, so it's third club, of course. Standing across to Ash.
I think at different times in his career, he's actually nearly played as the deepest defender against some of the most dangerous sort of small forwards, and still able to run through the middle at times, but he's played in that back third, let alone the back half.
Kel Ward with the set shot coming up here. Adele, you and I think we're both reading on the AFL about Kellen Ward, and it's interesting the fact that he's playing this year for the Giants when he was going to retire. And he's beautiful kick for goal.
He's got plenty of football left in him, Hutto. It was an interesting read, wasn't it, this morning?
Yeah, his domestic arrangement. So he's staying in Sydney, his wife and
so it was
back to Melbourne.
Yeah, when I read the headline, I was like, oh, this is going to be an interesting read. But the gist of it was that he thought he was going to retire last year. They'd made some family arrangements to do so, to move back to Melbourne for family support. And then what happened off the back of last year with his own performance and also the Giants, they agreed to go again. And his wife, Ruby, and 3 young kids have moved to Melbourne. So he's going to try and make it work with the long distance. And the club's fully on board. They ticked it off when they re-signed him. They're going to make allowances for him to spend some more time in Melbourne. at the right time. So it's a little bit different to what we've previously heard, but there's no reason it can't work really successfully for everybody.
I think that's an example of how clubs are finding ways to manage the different circumstances of their players. I think it's a great thing, and if you can keep Callum Ward at your club for an extra 12 months, I think that's a massive win.
Yeah, well, wouldn't you? Williams out of the middle, down to the last minute, been a much more competitive quarter by the Giants. Carlton still lead by 24. Stone takes off. This is what he can do in full flight. The outside of the boot, though, indiscriminate kick. Wiedering tries to take care of it, puts the tackle in as he went past. Taken by Darcy Jones. Needed some help, couldn't get it. Fantasia. Curious situation for Cottrell. Didn't stop him going hard at the footy. And suddenly it's Kemp, but it's Carlton with the chance. Taylor tries to defend. Kemp goes to ground, puts himself at a disadvantage. Tries to get back to his feet. Does get back to his feet. Handballs it out to Evans. And then it's Akers having the shot. And after all of that, he misses.
I can't recall a game, I know we're in the pre-season, but even just thinking quickly back to last year, there's been so many floaters. Absolute pies being kicked into the front half. That last one did not spin in any fashion. It resembled a drop punt, and as a result, it's turned over.
Brody Kemp just then was running faster than his legs could go. He did really well to stay in that contest. He had to win that one-on-one 3 or 4 times to be able to get the ball back to his teammate in Evans.
It is such a strange time of year, Hutto, when you're into the pracky match period. You've done such a huge amount of work in the off-season, fitness-wise, and you get here and you're like, I can't remember doing any running session. It hurts so much.
Jesse Hogan finishing the second quarter a little frustrated with the service he got on that occasion. So there's been some good, there's been some average in the first half, but that's what practice matches and final hit-outs are all about. It's half-time, and it's Carlton 8-7-55. The Giants 4-6-30. GWS have got a bit of work to do to get themselves right to take on Collingwood, who looked terrific the other night. I'm sure they will. It's the Giants and the Pies, all part of what is going to be a massive opening round. And you'll see it all live on Fox Footy.
All right, half-time here. And the Giants came back a little bit there, kicking 4 goals for. Good job to them. 3 goals to the Blue Baggers. A 33-point lead at quarter time. Now it's reduced to 25. The Giants came out in that second term. They did look the better team. They had control. And halfway through that second quarter, all the Blues had a bit of a run back then and sort of evened out the tide in that second quarter. But we should be in for a fantastic second half coming up, not too far away, as they're on the halftime break now. We'll get back to the commentators not too far away. Toby Green, David, as you were saying there, I think he's kicked 2 behinds. We're going to have a look at some of the stats right now. Let's have a look at the goal scorers on the ground as they stand. Still Harry Mackay, the only multiple goal scorer there, and that's for Carlton with 2. Zach Williams, Adam Sard gets a goal. Mitch McGovern, Brody Kemp, Fantasia and Kera have a goal for Carlton. GWS. Callum Ward, he's got 1. Darcy Jones, Jesse Hogan, the goal scorers for the Giants. Let's have a look at the disposal getter. Who's leading the way there? Well, Lockie Ash came out with a good second term there. He's now leading the count on 18 with 15 kicks. There we go. 3 handballs, 4 marks, 1 tackle, doing a good job there. Lockie Whitfield having his usual good game there for the Giants with 16. Finn McCallaghan, 15. Josh Kelly with 14 to the top 4 on the ground, all from the Giants. There we go. Adam Kera there, top in the table with Camp Briali with 13 for the Blue Baggers. We'll head down there. Let's have a look at some of your players. Himmelberg is going all right with 10. Paddy Cripps there, the Carlton superstar. He's had 10 touches, 4 kicks, 6 handballs, 2 marks, 4 tackles. So he's going pretty good. He's had 3 clearances also. Mitch McGovern there, he went off with a little bit of a sore ankle there for the Blues. He's had 9 touches. We'll get down to Lockie Keith on 9. Come down to some of the big guns there. Stephen Cornelio, he's had 8. Jesse Hogan, asking about Jesse Hogan, a little bit quiet in that second term. I think he only just had the 1 touch there. Still 7 disposals, 5 kicks, 2 handballs, 4 marks, 1 goal, 1 the big man down there. Toby Green. There we go. There's his stats right there. Toby's had 6 touches, 5 kicks, 1 handball, 1 mark, 2 tackles, 3 behinds for the Tobster. He had a set shot straight in front from about 30 and off the right side of his boot. So he's got the yips a little bit today. Toby Green with just the 3 behinds. He want to straighten his kicking up if the Giants want to get back in action, I think, here. Lockie Fogarty there with 5 touches. Jack Silvani with 5 also for the Blue Baggers. Jesse Motlop only with 3 as we go down here. Sam Doherty with 1. A few there still not touched the ball up until halftime. Let's have a little bit of a look at the team stats before the commentators come back. And the Giants go ahead on the disposal count. 191, 172-19 up on the Blue Baggers. Only 1 kick the difference, but the handballs, Giants like that a little bit more. 20 up there, inside 50s, evened out 28-26. 10 and 15 scoring shots, so Carlton's efficiency definitely a little bit better there, 72-69. That's around the ground, but inside 50, 65, 35. The Giants want to lift that a bit. Free kicks stabilising there, 7-9, only 2 the difference there. Hit-outs all tied up, but Carlton's still leading the way in the clearances. The Giants have pegged them back a little bit there. Also, contested possessions, everything reasonably even there, as are the marks. All right, let's get back down to the commentators and they'll give us a little bit of wrap-up on the first half.
The moment from Eddie Betts and Brad Johnson. Halftime scores 8-7-55, place 4-6-30. The Giants finally getting going in that second term, but it's Carlton by 25. Jono and Eddie, down to you.
Thank you, Hutto. Yeah, when you look at the Blues and a little bit of a change-up in defence, Ed, with Jack Silvani playing down there. So in the air, they've actually got some really strong players that are quite confident in that area of the game.
Yeah, they do. And, you know, with Nick Newman out and Haynes, in addition to Haynes down there, Jacob Wiedering, All-Australian fullback, you need some help, Ariel. And then you put Mitch McGovern down there, Jack Silvani, that could take a grab. And he just reads the ball so well. Playing down forward most of his career and in ruck, he was that floating person down in defensive. So to see here, knows how to read the play, goes back, takes the mark, and it just helps out Whedon so much. And here we got Gov just reading the play. And you don't take mark of the year in pre-season games there. That was an awesome mark. And again, Gov takes another mark here and then just rolls that ankle. But it's super. The support they have down back, Ariel, is looking good.
It is, and they work one-on-one as well, so they're very good in that area, but support each other in the air as well. And we will have an update on Mitch McGovern after the break as well. So Blues fans, stay tuned for that. Campo. He's playing well. Let's just put it that way. He's playing extremely well, and we saw it last night with Davidson for the Bulldogs. Had a strong first half and was able then, I think, to become a lock for round 1. It's the same thing here with another young player for the Blues, and he's just looks comfortable out there.
Yeah, he does. He started on the wing, and mind you, he had 10 disposals in the first quarter. And just watching his running patterns, just up and down this wing. And twin brother Ben at home would be sitting back watching with his dad, Scotty, would be loving the way that he is playing at the moment. And he's put himself in contention for round 1 Thursday night against Richmond.
I know you're happy with that too, Ed. You had a little bit to do with the boys when they were growing up.
Yeah, well, especially over at the Adelaide Crows when Scott was the assistant coach there. We used to go, the little Lucas and Ben would run around the change room, kick the footy, and we went around their house at the back in Brighton, I think it was. They had a basketball court, big pool. They had it all.
And now looking for a debut in the early rounds of the season. The clearance game was the important one that GWS had to fix up in that second quarter. They did, and what it did, it actually gave them some more looks inside forward 50, because that first quarter they were getting dominated, and Adam Kingsley was pretty angry with the way that GWS were playing.
Well, like you said, you interviewed him, and they needed a response. He needed to come in hard, and they needed to show that in that second quarter. And in the first quarter, it was 18-5 clearances, and then 15-23. So they fought back, but it changed up. Toby Bedford was in there on Cripps. Toby couldn't get it done. They put another Toby in, and Toby Green. He went and mixed it up, and yeah, he got some clearances there.
Certainly did. All right, time for a very quick break here. We'll have an update on Mitch McGovern, and we'll catch up Blues fans with Nick Newman after the break.
the break, but hopefully it's just a precaution, but he definitely won't be playing any further tonight. Let's hope he's ready when the Blues take on Richmond. It's always a huge feature of round one of AFL footy. It'll kick things off on Thursday night at the MCG, March 13. The Blues and the Tigers live on Fox Footy. Lovely Friday night doubleheader to get you in the mood as we count down to opening round on Fox Footy. A warm day turning into a beautiful evening in Canberra. It's Carlton as we head into the third quarter, leading by 25 points. Let's get back downstairs and hear from injured blue, Nick Newman. John.
Thank you, Hutto. We are here with Nick Newman. Nick, we'll get into your role and how you're going at the moment. Blues fans just want an update, if they can, on Mitch McGovern. I don't know whether you've had a chance to speak to him at half-time.
I briefly saw him. I think he's okay. I think he just jarred his ankle. So clearly in these practice matches, you take any risk out of it. So, I think he'll be fine.
And Yui, your role this year, obviously, we saw you sitting on the bench over there. You're pretty calm on the bench. You're talking to all the boys. What is it going to be like this year? Like a Sam Doherty?
Yeah, similar to what Doc did last year. I'm a bit calmer on the bench than I am on the field. Just trying to be another voice on the bench that players can come to and speak to, and hopefully I can contribute in some small way.
Are you jumping up? Sorry, Eddie. Are you jumping up?
Not yet. Yeah, we'll see how I go in a couple of weeks when there's 90,000 at the G. I might not be able to help myself, but I'm pretty calm at the moment.
And how's the recovery going? I know it could be daunting at times, and just to see Jagger Smith do it last week as well, be good for you both to go through that together.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I've been through this before with my right knee, so I've got some idea of what to expect. But obviously, poor Jags is an 18-year-old kid. He's never really been injured before in his life. So obviously we'll be spending a bit of time together this year. So hopefully I can help him out a little bit. Give him some advice on what's to come. But my rehab's going well. So we'll be best mates by the end of it.
Yeah, certainly. Well, have you assessed the game tonight, Newey?
Not too bad. Obviously, first quarter we started pretty well, and as expected, their contest was pretty good that quarter. So we'll see how we go. But it's a beautiful night.
Well, which young kid has impressed? Like, let's give Carlton fans something to believe in.
I'm always biased towards the backs. I love Lockie Cow, and you'll see him playing on Toby a little bit, and Ollie Holland's down there as well. I thought Lucas Camporali's been pretty solid on the wing, and then we've got Matty Carroll, who's on the bench at the moment. He's a young guy that's impressed this pre-season, so hopefully he can come on in this last half and show a few things.
What about Sardi getting forward and kicking a nice one?
We always love a defender who kicks a goal.
Always do, mate. Always try to sneak forward. Celebration from there all the way back.
Yeah. We celebrate pretty hard when a defender kicks a goal. It doesn't happen very often, so it's good to see.
Well, Newey, the second half is about to get underway. It just has got underway, mate. So all the very best with your recovery and also the Blues in 2025.
Thanks, gents.
Good luck.
Toby, clear out.
He'll be missed, Nick Newman. I guess time will tell just how much. Callaghan sends the Giants forward as we start the third quarter. Saad hoovering that up impressively. Sends it out to the wing to Fantasia. And striding out nicely. Takes off. Goes deep into the pocket. Maybe a little too deep. No. Young comes out and takes the mark on the lead.
You see when Fantasia took that mark, how quickly Ash dropped off, Lockie Ash dropped off. And that might be between some defensive strategies at the moment about trying to get their back six to come back into their back third without really filling that gap. So that happened a bit in the first quarter, and we've the first time, early in the third, we've seen it again. But a lot of drop-off play happening from the high defenders of the Giants.
Only 2 goals in his AFL career. Who's young? You'd never guess it from that shot.
Not his best. It's an interesting point you raise, Bucks, because I think this team's still exploring. Do we come up and stand on the mark and be forced to freeze, or do we drop back outside that 5 and try and get some extra support behind the football? I think in that example, there wasn't enough delay on the ball, and ultimately Fantasia takes his yardage and gets the ball forward.
Kelly waiting till he had something to kick to, Wiedering with the spoiler. Akers tries and fails to brush off Bedford. No whistle. Play on, and Carlton willing to do that. Cripps to Coney on the 50. Fantasia again.
What we have seen, though, Bucks, is the ball use of the Blues. That came from a stoppage, a contested situation. They were able to find that uncontested mark to be able to control the game. That was my concern with the Giants in the first quarter, not being able to create that secondary contest after the initial stoppage.
Williams circling the pack pretty well. Won the footy. Under significant duress, though. Cripps and Green. Green and Cripps. Going hard at it. DeConey tried to scoop it out. Hewitt, good luck getting a clean possession in amongst all of that.
Bedford's third tackle already this quarter. Well, pound for pound, he's got a bit of clout. It'd surprise me if he was over 80 kilos, or even 75, but he hits like 100 kilograms.
Cottrell burning through. Saw a little opening, and then we all saw it. Took the footy, kicks the goal. Carlton's lead again is extended beyond 5 goals.
Pretty quiet in the first half, Matty Cottrell. usually up on the wing and running up and back. It looks like they've gone elsewhere. He's playing a little bit more as a high forward, and that can be starvation corner. But that's a beautiful front and centre, and really clean hands here on the half volley. And you take those.
That's a traditional front and centre. You just keep a close eye on Connor Stone, who just loses body contact here. Goes to where he thinks the ball's going to go, while Cottrell goes where it is.
I think Ross would have run a few of those drills, wouldn't he, about how you see the player out? Would that really call it?
Keep
See
contact.
him out?
Yep, see him out.
Not a bad front and centre off the head of Young.
And one thing that was impressive by the Blues, even though they got dominated in a few of the key aspects or key stats of the game, they were still able to kick 3 goals too, even though in that second quarter, even though the Giants had the majority of the play.
Last Matt Cottrell, no longer a rookie with Carlton. Important member in their team with that run and aggression that he provides. Callahan. Hewitt, a stand start, high ball to half forward. Buckley trying to keep his feet and get back to the footy. Had Iden as the next layer. Who keeps it low, and the mark fumbled by Cowan. Jones was at number 2, pouncing. As the Giants try and spring the ball off half back, which they are able to do now. Running wide, Hannaford at half forward. Little hand pass, Rashevsky. Pop kick, not 15 for Daniels. And he tries to get creative, but the old Jason wouldn't let that dribble kick too much, would he, with someone on the line.
There's the Connie. Will whack across the guts and then gets buried on the way through from Keith. No, and I don't think that was the option there, whether it was Jason Dunstall disagreeing. That was at worst a drop punt, if not some sort of snap. I think the dribble is the best option.
There was another tight call on the 15 metres too, wasn't it? So really tough on that so far, stringent at the moment.
Well, it's going to result in play being sped up as well. You know, you're less likely to go for the 50-50 sort of 15-metre kick, and if they're marginal, they're going to get played on.
Giants trying to dig in, across half back. Elijah Holland seeing some action. Got the handball essentially to Hewitt, to Chiara. Campriali off the left boot. It's a long ranging kick, and it's only behind, but more evidence. He could be a very valuable player.
Hutto, the Blues have also made a call on Harry Mackay, so he will take no further part in the game. Nothing wrong, just resting him and getting him set for the season opener.
Thanks, Jono. That's why we saw Lewis Young playing forward, I suspect. Looped over the top. Darcy Jones. Eyes to the inside. Daniels. Do more of the same to Kelly. Not 15. There we go again. Hacked away by Whitfield. And the Blues come away with purpose. Cottrell legging it through. Fantasia has a bounce. Not sure if he needed it. This is the best we've seen Arazzo Fantasia in, I reckon, 5 years. What a bonus he could be for Carlton. Lovely goal.
Yeah, great call, Hutto. When he is up and about, he's top of the ground. He uses his speed. A very smart player. Yeah, you know he's feeling good about himself if he's taking hangers in the goal square like he did at the end of the last quarter. But it's another player who doesn't mind having a bounce, and that's a quick one just to steady himself and know that he's got up to 15 metres to use the ball.
Yep.
And was able to finish really well.
You touched on it before, Bucks. A guy that's been hampered by a variety of injuries over a period of time, but you can just see the speed that he possesses and just that willingness to force your defender to chase off turnover as soon as it looks like it's gone. Those high half forwards that get up and then slingshot back towards goal. As Brad Johnson just said, Harry Mackay is done for the night. Had a couple of good moments early in this game with a couple of early goals. And we'll see him in a fortnight's time.
Josh Kelly, come back.
Free to Josh Kelly. Tried to up the ante. Possession 18 coming up. Star midfielder.
The Blues have been able to score 4 times from 6 insides with the makeshift key forward setup that they have. They've been encouraged by that.
Good reach from Haynes. There's danger in the kit. Keith recognising that. Cowan. call from the umpire for ball up.
It's just a really good ground level. Like you don't need to get a touch every time, but Cowan's ability just to take that cleanly, take the tackle, draw the stoppage, that's really good defensive play.
Elijah Hollands dribbles one out. Callahan onto that quick smart. Back to Stone. To the square. Equal numbers in flight. Cowan again captured that time. He shoveled it out. Keith played a part. Jones was smothered. Fell for Cherry. Carlton back to the middle. Everyone waits for the bounce. It was true for Iden. Forward handball. Himmelberg knew where the danger was lying. Off to Iden towards full forward, but doesn't arrive because
We've seen a lot of that. No, 15.
Not 15, play on.
Oh, jeez.
Not 15, now 20.
See if that one gets
It's
there.
now 20. You're going to kick 20 metres to get a mark in modern footy. 2025.
back to Doherty.
But they worked that ball from their defensive 15 metres with that intercept mark from Wiedering. Now they're into their front half. So the area of growth that we keep an eye on for the Giants, they've had 32 inside 50s for the game, which is exactly the same as the Blues. Yeah, they've only kicked the 4 goals. So that connection, that last piece going inside forward 50 clearly hasn't been there to this point.
Not 15, play on.
Ash. He burns them off. Callahan had a quick look. There's no one coming, so away he goes as well. Hannaford as well. Nicely spaced kick. Shevsky takes the mark. Spins out to open up the goal square. Cadman, he had Count exactly where he wanted. Didn't mark, doesn't matter. Darcy Jones puts it through.
So that play right there, Dale, where the turnovers happened at defensive mid, you've gone down and scored. I think the game looks really closely, and that the best teams, they score as a percentage of their turnovers, whether it's in the back half or the front half, higher than most. The top 4 scores from turnover percentage, and you look at that from a defensive perspective as well. The Giants have been the bottom 6 the last 3 years for percentage of scores from the turnovers that they force.
Yes.
Now we don't think that sort of is a little bit counterintuitive because they've been fast and flashy at times. But what you've just described, 33 inside 50s for now 5 goals, they need to get better return for their turnovers. And they need to become a top 6 side of that at least to give themselves a chance to beat the best sides when it matters.
Well, that's their first from turnover tonight as well, so that highlights that point exactly, Bucks.
Clean pick up to Koenig. Sets them forward again. Lord. Blues towards full forward. Fogarty kept his feet. He became the tackler on Taylor. Now Ivan cops it.
For Brisbane, for instance, last year, their balance of being able to attack and then defend, like they were just a top 4 side on that differential. Sydney have been a top 4 side for the last 3 years. Western Bulldogs are actually one that probably do it really well, but haven't been rated as highly, but their profile's really good in those areas.
Giants able to get it forward without much rhyme or reason. Wiedering. Cow. Quite make his mind up, but settled on Cooper Law. Starting to find the footy a little in this third term. Back from the sun, which is an issue for Wiedering as he spies what's next. Plays it safe and sound to Haynes. And across to Fantasia, who's had a little break. He's back out there again. A couple of goals under his belt. Just to keep it going. Good distance on the kick. Big pack forward to the back of it. Motlop. Which way is the whistle going? It's a Giants ball.
So back here. No. Wrong pack. Wrong pack. Yeah.
Taylor.
It's been paid 50.
That's just 15.
That's on.
Idling. Kicks. Cowan again, knowing exactly what he needed to do, which was spoil first.
Look at some of the key ball winners for both teams. Lockie Ash has had 20, as has Callahan. And then Chera's up to 18, and Keparali's had 16, which is a great sign for that youngster.
Up on the wing now, so I think he started half back. He's now got a chance to get up the ground a little bit. Camporelli.
Maybe it compounds the fact, from a Giants perspective, some of their key playmakers and ball winners are still getting their hands on the football yet.
Not 15, play on.
No, not 15. Should keep a stat on that for tonight's game. Just haven't had the impact forward of the play that they usually would.
Good reach from Cadman again. More sides, more evidence. And the sun a factor. He lets fly. Green-eyeing this one. It might even carry him as well. He made the contest. Hannaford. They do in impressively quick fashion.
Riccardi's sort of been the third tall forward that's played a lot of footy in recent years. And Stringer will come into this forward line at some point. He must be licking his lips when you've got Hogan and Cadman around you and Green. There's going to be a bit of focus on other players that might allow him to do a bit of damage.
He went to Doherty, back again to Williams. That Akers in his pocket didn't like that. Another not 15. Haynes. Kept it low. Oh, Doherty like that again. Ash. Down the line. Fumble from Hogan. Not a pretty passage of play. Williams, I'm pretty sure, took that out.
Guarantee that both coaches, that they have their hearts in their mouths. When the football's like this and it's a bit broken and it's not that clean, you just pray. There's a lot of clashes that are, that look a little bit at different angles, different times, ground level balls. You just want to get your players through this next 45 minutes.
You're a quarter and a half now, aren't you?
Yeah,
So from your experiences, Bucks, you've got a quarter and a half to go. What is your priority right now?
Well, you know that your fatigue is set in. You just want to see the ability to stick to your plans. As Motlop has a shot as touch. You just stick to your plans.
And if you've gone into this game with a plan and you're in this situation, if you're either coach, are you tempted to change your plan and get some of your key
sometimes
players off the ground?
Walk across the other huddle and say, have we seen enough? But and I think the Giants would be relatively happy with their second quarter. That'd be enough to hang their hat on, although they now want to see some of that stoppage work come through. They want to move the ball a little bit better from end to end. Carlton would be really happy with what they've seen so far, but they've got a different forward look, and the players individually still want to put their hand up for selection, especially the ones on the cusp.
Buckley, range on that kick, out to Connor Stone. Now Ward. Stone only managing 13 games in 4 years so far. Plenty of VFL footy under his belt last year, though. I'll be hoping for big things. He'll get an opportunity, much like at the start of the season. Some in the eyes of a hesitant Whitfield. Down the line, Cadman flew. Hollins taken immediately, loose ball. Halloran. Not sure where to head next. Stumbling kick, Chera fight out the handball. Silvani, they're out of there, back to the wing. Playing in front, Fogarty. Now Haynes. Kept it low. Fantasia really marked out his territory, hasn't he, across that high half forward. Run up, run back. Got dangerous. It's one on Ward. Kicks it into the shadows in the pocket. And with authority, Kemp takes the mark.
Yeah, it just keeps showing signs. One other factor that you need to consider, because it's a very hot day up there, and you will feel the fatigue more in those conditions, especially early in the season. But the Giants have only suited up the 22 or 24 players. And Carlton have had 27 run out. So when those rotations, the extra rotations, have a bit of an impact when you get later in the game.
No closer here on the side, just keep it active.
Depending on Charlie, perhaps. Maybe a round one berth for Brody Kemp as a forward. As he slots them like that, that'll help the cause. We saw a bit of evidence late last year, as we mentioned, as the Blues just ran out of resources on the forward line with an injured Charlie Curnow. Booted 4 over against over in the West. Show that perhaps he is another option for them up front. Bossy liked it.
He's got the skill set, doesn't he, Hutto? if you've got that skill set, it is transferable to either end of the ground. Clearly, as a defender, you're probably playing back shoulder and coming forward and spoiling, but there's also the modern player that they don't want to spoil. They want to intercept mark, and he's just transferred that 100 metres down the other end. It's a great launch of the footy. Wasn't much body contact on the way through. They gave him a free jump at the footy. Some really promising signs. Mackay, Kerno, Kemp.
Out of the middle, DeConey. Daniels gets a kick out to the wing. Camporeale there first. Saw away past Ward. To half forward on the bounce. Pitches in front of Mop. Daniels wide and just to the voice, and that was okay. It was all friendly out there. O'Halloran, they pieced this together pretty well. In the nick of time, a handball out to Daniels. And then to Brzezinski. 60 from goal. Cadman in his sights. And Aaron Cadman takes the mark.
Doing accents, Neil. I've really enjoyed this guy's game. Hasn't had the huge numbers, and you really do when you're playing that key forward role. It's about how do you impact at the right time, and we spoke about his growth last year, particularly the back half of the year, where it was more than just signs, it was consistency week in, week out, around obviously Jesse Hogan. If he can just add another layer to his game, go to that next stage, gives him other avenues.
Can't convert with that kick. And DeConey takes the mark.
And the other piece it adds is they have to defend him honestly. They can't roll off Cadman to try and possibly support to do a 2-on-1 against Hogan, for example. Then you get different looks.
We're talking about injuries and holding your breath. Well, we saw last night Marcus Bontempelli suffering an injury, and we'll give you a full update at three-quarter time, but it's not great news for the Bulldogs with his calf injury, so he'll be missing some footy at the start of the year. We'll give you some more details, as I said, at the next break. We had a wretched run to start the season. Fogarty to Williams, who turns, and Kemp can get there for another one. Oh, can he? Oh, he tapped it back. Watford was only centimetres away from finishing it.
Good effort by Kemp there. See, he does look like a likely type, doesn't he? I mean, even as a third tall option. It's
yeah, that's a good question, isn't it? Could he play with the other two?
Well, probably Jack Silvani's played that role. And one of the reasons he's played it is because he's done a little bit of ruck work.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I think Harry Mackay has shown that he can do that now.
So then you could put Kemp in that position. Yeah, that's a good question.
Jack Martin was probably playing that role a little when he was up.
Here's Jesse Hogan. Thought about centering it. Thinks again.
That's the first time from memory this game they've actually got one out the back. One of the few times that the Blues' defence from one end of the ground to the other just broke down slightly to allow Hogan to get goal side.
Angles out to the left. Does it well. A little stuttering when he does around the corner. Jesse Hogan, a little set snap.
Still flipping the ball around a little bit, not wanting to be real set, trying to make it as fluid and as relaxed as possible. But this is good hands by Grzeski to get over the top here. O'Halloran, as you said, one of the few times that the Giants, and it is actually taking it long down the line and then speeding up off that. They've been trying to sort of move the ball and move the Carlton defence and find a hole, but Carlton haven't allowed them to get the ball through the midfield.
And that will
very often.
And that will occur on times when you're playing very proactive. You want to get your defenders higher up the ground.
Yep.
You will eventually concede a couple of goals. As we have a look at the Giants' best and fairest from last year, and rightly so. The Coleman medalist was also number one in their best and fairest. It's a good list of top five, isn't it? Good spread off the back of what they did have a fantastic year and just made some crucial errors in those finals.
83 points. DeConey can do so much more than just be a tap ruckman. Green. Ash. Short of half forward, but Haynes. We haven't seen that from him for a couple of seasons either.
you point on Tom McCunning, he can do much more than just be a tap ruckman. You need to these days. His follow-up is excellent. You need an extra ground level player, but his aerial work is strong also. It's going to be a fascinating watch what he's able to produce this year and then committing beyond.
You touched on it off the top, Bucks. I think you said it was Max Gorn that mentioned at the Captain's Day about the possibility of where De Koning could go. Do you see it in the same light that probably behind Max, is he the second best ruck in the comp?
Well, I think he's been absolutely dominant today when you really break it down. His first 15 minutes set the game up. He was the highest possession getter halfway through the first quarter and was able to follow up, and if he wasn't clearing it himself, he was setting it up for his teammates. So I love the fact that he's an aerial threat as well, you know, whether it's down the line or forward of the ball. So he's 24 years old and he's got great growth in his game still.
If he's got time, he could do a bit of tuition with his brother, who's now a ruckman as well. He's really learning the caper in front of our eyes, isn't he?
Yes, and that was a little bit forced. Reece Stanley not in the side.
It's Cody Engove coming on for his first run.
He's fresh faced, isn't he? And Harvey Thomas, like last year, I don't know. He looks like he's 14 years old. He's running around playing his first game. Engove doesn't look much different.
The other way of looking at it is Bucks is we're all getting older.
Oh, I know that.
Hopefully he gets an early touch too, guys, because he's completed about 100 run-throughs in front of us in the first three quarters.
And he steps up, Jono.
Young West Australian recruit. He impressed in the match simulation against Sydney last week. Kicked a couple of goals in the opening term, courtesy of some 50-metre penalties. Played all the 4 games in the WA at the National Under-18s last year. Averaged 12 disposals, but can hit the scoreboard as well. As can this man.
Stay with me. Stay with me.
Cut the margin to 27 points. Very close to the man on the mark. And as a result, the kick drops short. And the Blues see it through.
And got absolutely buried.
Yeah,
didn't he? Took an extra step trying to get that extra metre of yardage to make the distance and took a...
He's just given away.
He's just given away a free kick in the corridor.
Bit of Toby tax. Does Toby get... No, I won't mention it.
As we have a look at the replay. It was a fair hit. He had every right to make contact, Chera. He was in the action of kicking.
Sada Silvani. Too wide into the pocket for the leading lane there of Williams.
Even an eye on Patrick Cripps, who's played 80% of tonight's game. He's had the 13 disposals, so been really well held, mostly by Bedford. The man that had, statistically, in Brownlow night, the most unbelievable season known to man.
Ward realised that the pressure wasn't getting any greater, so he took it quickly with a jumper tuck, so that doesn't count. It's interesting, isn't it, in the pre-season game, doing the pretty much full-on tag role? Well, I guess he's practising his...
Yeah, I was going to say, if Bedford's in the team, he has to be a tagger. So why not learn your craft or keep working on your craft?
Is there a counter-argument that next time he comes up against Patrick Cripps has got a bit more
there's a psyche
information?
Piece. Yeah, well, possibly, but you do your research during the week. You know that Toby Bedford's going to come to you. You know what sort of style of player that he's going to have to be against you. But then that opens the question, like Bedford was a revelation last year in that tagging role. Do we see the game change? Is there going to be more taggers, or is it just for that handful of clubs that have got that unique player?
Jarrett keeps his feet. And as he can run forward. Bit of a Carlton fight there between Akers and Cripps. They eventually sorted out who was doing what. And the old seniority clause invoked.
Paddy Cripps is probably the only bloke that's not enjoyed the fact that he's getting tagged in a community series game. But he's decided to just to drag Toby forward and see how he goes as a defender.
.35 metres out. He too has missed. Would he be getting Brownlow votes for this game, do you think?
Well, if it's off the back of last year, absolutely. What a year he had. I mean, we all...
That's not fair.
There's a few jokes about Brownlow night and how dominant it was, but whether he won by 1 or
Put yourself in the best 3 or 4 players, or a handful of players on the ground every week, which he was able to do. You're going to get your fair share of votes. He just happened to have one of those seasons where he probably got everyone he deserved and a couple more.
It's definitely not his fault, is it? He got that many votes. That was quite a little tangle there verbally between Silvani and Hogan. Hogan thinking perhaps that Jack Silvani had added a little bit of mayo to all of that. Akers for the crowd there. A big bash.
He's been such a good recruit for Carlton, like Akers. I love the way he plays his foot. He's strong in the air. He's a long runner, all the way up, all the way back off the wing.
I think right call from the look of that first replay. I've seen a bit of question marks over how dangerous it can be too to push someone into another contest.
Yeah.
One to keep an eye on. Fogarty there. Tossed back up into the air to Koning against Keith. So Kieran Briggs, I guess we have to keep that in mind when we're discussing De Koning's performance today. At least he hasn't been up against a recognised ruckman. Briggs being ill. He's named in the team. Not playing. Akers. High ball. Goes beyond the pack. Up for grabs. Himmelberg. Cripps still keeping guard with the tackling, trying to lock it away.
This is all about conditioning as well. We know that the first 4 or 5 games of the season are the fastest. The ball will zing around, and yet the players are at their fittest and strongest. So it's a real challenge here. This last 30 minutes just gets you ready for that.
Fogarty, the goals presented, clenched fist in delight. He cycles it through. Small forwards from the Blues. There's a bunch of them that will all be trying to put their hand up for selection in that first round.
It's going to be hotly contested, Hutto, isn't it? That forward line. It's a healthy competition from within. Bucks just said you can't take your foot off the gas because there'll be a handful of players that are thinking, I need to play this game out. I need to keep showing my very best for opening night. Thursday night football against the Tigers. This is good forward pressure. So a couple of just big hits just to dislodge the footy, causes the fumble, and a nice stoppage goal.
Yeah, in that sort of 25-metre region away from defending the opposition goal, being clean and being able to win possession and then get a couple of handballs out to time and space to clear is important. It's not just putting a fist in things to defend well. Sometimes you've actually got to be able to win that ball to be able to clear it. And Giants haven't been able to do that often enough in their 25 to 30 metre zone. Carlton have been much better at ground level and ball winning all over the field.
Nudge it forward again. That's a walking on total green, making sure no one's going to get close. Here's Angove, takes off. Hit that smartly. Kelly got himself set at seconds. Couldn't be wasted at that stage. So another terrific quarter from Carlton. 4 goals, 5. They kicked to 2-3 from the Giants. And at 3/4 time, it's Carlton with a 39-point advantage in their final hit out against the Giants in Canberra. Okay, well, don't forget there's more footy to come after this one. Gold Coast and Sydney. That's coming up on Fox Footy. We'll have the Marcus Bontempelli news for you as well.
All right, there we go. 3/4 time, and it's the Blue Baggers doing it quite comfortably in this afternoon's game. 12-84 leading the Giants, 6-9-45. The Blues putting on 4 goals, 5 in that third term. The Giants could only manage 2 goals, 3. There we go. I think the Giants are just going to run this game out and let the time tick away in this final quarter. Tine Shelty. Hello, Sir Mike. Thumbs up. Thanks for the thumbs up. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, folks, if you're watching this game. Appreciate that. But there we go. We've just had the third term. We've got 1 to go. It's the Blues now stretch their margin out to 39. Looking quite comfortable in this game so far. Let's just run over and have a look at the goal scorers as we do. And some of the players' stats. All right, we've got a few multiple goal scorers on the ground now. And, of course, Harry Mackay, Brody Kemp, Fantasia, all multiple goal scorers there for Carlton with 2 each. Zach Williams, Sard, McGovern, Fogarty, Cottrell, and Kera, all single goal scorers for the Blue Baggers. And, of course, for the Giants, Darcy Jones, Jesse Hogan, 2 each for the Giants. Callum Ward and Callahan are the other single goal scorers there for the Giants. Jesse Hogan getting his hand on the ball a few times there. Lockie Whitfield, though, continues to lead the way for the Giants out on the ground with Lockie Ash both with 22. Josh Kelly, 21 touches. Adam Kera, the leading possession getter there for Carlton with 21. Finn Callahan with 20. There we go. Let's have a look. Lucas Camporelli's having a pretty good game there. 18 touches, 13 kicks, 5 handballs. Doing quite well there. Zach Williams on 15. Adam Sard up to 14. Let's just roll down and have a look at some of these. Paddy Cripps there, the reigning Brownlow medalist. He's on 14 touches so far. He's been well tagged. But I'm sure when round 1 comes, he'll just explode the gates and probably score some more Brownlow votes there. He's had 6 kicks, 8 handballs. He's doing rather well. 3 marks, 6 tackles, 4 clearances. So he's having a reasonably good game. He's kicked behind also. Harry Himmelberg, 13 for the Giants. Let's roll down to some of the other players. Toby Green. Well, he doesn't really get the ball too often these days, does he, old Toby? He's had 10 touches, 7 kicks. He's still just kicked the 3 behinds. Mitch McGovern went off with a little bit of an ankle injury there for the Blues. So we haven't seen him back on the ground. I think they'll just keep him on ice. Jesse Hogan, 9 kicks, 9 disposals, 7 kicks. He's kicked 2 goals, 1 Jesse. Looks in fine. Fettel out there at the moment. I'm sure he'll kick a bag full of goals this coming season as well. Some of your other players there with your stats. Let's just have a quick look at the team stats. All pretty even there. It's only 15 up for the Giants. Nothing too much there. 10 on the kicks, and of course 25 up on the handballs. They've always been sort of up on that department throughout the game so far. Inside 50s though, 15 scoring shots for the Giants, 40 inside, and of course Carlton 41 inside 50s for 24. So they're going pretty good at 58.5% efficiency inside. The Giants still a little bit low on 40%. Free kicks, Carlton got quite a few more in that third term. 9 to 16 the total. There we go, 7 more free kicks, but the hit-outs are all tied up. The Giants, well, they're clawing a little bit the clearance back in that third quarter, 25-32. Centre clearance is now on top. Carlton were on top there. They did pretty well. As you can see, the contested possession, uncontested, not too much difference there. As the turnovers head down to the marks, all pretty even there, isn't it? 9 up is the Blues. 1 more inside 50. Good to see both sides, though, getting some marks inside 50. 8 V9, Carlton +1, contested 4 apiece. And we'll have a look at the tackles coming up here in just a moment. 36 to 40, both teams. Well, there we go. The tackle count's normally a fair bit higher than that in real game action. But being the practice match, they're not going to do it too hard here. 8-9 tackles inside 50, Blues +1 there. Let me just roll that up, put it back there, get that over there, and there we go. We're going to be back with the third quarter in the final quarter here. Lang, BG, thanks T-Name, appreciate you coming in, saying hello to everybody. Thanks everybody. Don't forget, you can still vote to see who wins. Look, I know it's a 39-point game. Looks like the Blue Bags have got this one in the bag, in the blue bag, so to speak, pardon the pun. But you can still vote if you want. 67% so far have gone for Carlton. All right, let's head back down to the ground for the final few moments, and they're going to take us to the bounce in the final quarter, where it's the Blues by 39.
Now out for 6 weeks, and their starting midfield is gone for the start of the season. Really, when you add in Adam Treloar and Ed Richards into that mix, and then obviously Jonesdale back and Cody Waitman, the injury list to the key players of the Bulldogs is really creeping up here. And with the best player in the competition now out for 6 weeks and back after gather round, it's going to be a tough start for the Western Bulldogs anyway, without their superstars, especially in the midfield.
Can you see them making the 8 now?
Oh, look, it's the first 5 or 6 weeks, isn't it, Hutto? How they can really just try and hang in there now until they get their star players back into the lineup. So round 1 against North Melbourne becomes huge for both clubs, in particular, I think the Western Bulldogs.
Thank you, Jono. Del.
Just emphasise the need for good goal-kicking coaches down there with a couple of their key playmakers out.
Jono's feeling the pressure.
Gets at work.
Tell you what,
Working that,
It will give them some opportunity, won't it?
their second choice midfield played pretty well. Yesterday against the form team of the home and away, the end of the home and away last year in Hawthorn. So they didn't disgrace themselves at all. They looked very good.
All right, last quarter. Our coaches will be keeping their fingers crossed here in terms of injury. Brent Daniels sends it forward. Toby Green back in the forward line. Big soccer, good connection from Saad. It's past Ash. He's got midfield. Maybe Sleeve. He wants to move it a bit further forward. Another not 15 call. And then by hands of Callahan rolling onto the stylish left. Cadman not far off the mark.
We have focused on it a little bit, but if you kick a ball to a player who's not under pressure, but it's 14 or 15 or 16 metres away and it's called play on, that's still it's still an effective disposal to be able to move the ball, either change the angle or progress the ball. But when you know that pressure might be able to come, maybe it changes defences. Maybe defences press forward harder and we see more turnovers in the front half as a result.
You just ask for it to be consistent. I think we're all okay if that is now to the letter of the law. We can live with that.
Hey guys, coming out this way.
Listen to the coach coming out in Dell. He's already thinking about how can I take advantage of this.
How can we manipulate the rules?
Advantage and licking his way through is Brent Daniels, and Nick Haynes fully committed to the Carlton cause. Marks on the last line. You happy enough with what you've seen from Haynes, Del?
Yeah, I am. I was just thinking, just as he took that intercept mark, he's had some really good moments. And then you think, how does his skill set fit in with what we saw from the Blues last year? And you're really impressed with their team defence tonight. I don't think the Giants have been anywhere near their best as we get a stoppage on centre wing, but they need that intercept, third, fourth sort of tall that sort of can play that hybrid sort of role on the talls, all the small opponents.
We might check in with another of the game's star players who's also injured, Jono and Eddie Betts. Who have you rounded up down there?
We've been able to get our hands on Tom Green, which is sad for you, Tom, because you're not out there tonight. Of course, how's your calf and how's your recovery going?
It's going really well. As you said, it is incredibly frustrating not being out there watching the boys go about it. But no, it's coming along really well. I ran today. I've had a couple of runs, done some weights on it too. So it's coming along pretty well. And hopefully be back at the latest. Our first game back after the bye, but we'll see what we can do before that.
And tonight, Tom, how do you assess the boys playing out here? Obviously, you had a slow start in the first quarter, but gradually got themselves back into it.
Yeah, they have a bit. Carlton have looked really, really good. Credit to them. But it has been a bit of a frustrating game to watch on. We started, as you said, really, really slowly. And since then, haven't really been able to recover. I think there's a little bit of rust still we're working off. But,
there's been a lot of sloppy kicks tonight.
But, I think that's just obviously the nature of it. You guys know that's just the preseason hit out. So I think we'll be better for the run.
I tried to give the players an out at quarter time with the coach and said that you weren't out there around stoppages. And he goes, no, that's no excuse. It was effort and energy around the contest. Was it hard sitting back and just seeing the way Carlton were dominating that early part, which is such a strength for you guys?
Yeah, it has been really hard. As I said, it's just, we're at that time of year where you just want to get in the games. And so watching on, and particularly that area where I feel like I can help us out, it's where I just want to get in there and see what I can do. But King is probably right as well that, personnel-wise, that can help combat it. So we've been able to get back a little bit better after quarter time.
And Jakey, the package stringer, has come across. Hopefully he's got a hit out tomorrow, so I hope he gets through that and be ready for next week.
Yeah, no, he's been fantastic over the preseason. He's just come down with a little bit of a virus the last week or so. So we thought we'd give him a little rest and a little run tomorrow with the VFL, and I think he'll be better for that, and he should be right to go next week.
Toby Bedford's done a great job tonight on Paddy Cripps, and we understand the role he'll play throughout the year, which will help you hopefully in the midfield as well. But do you think with you being similar to Paddy, the oppo might start looking at you a little bit more?
There's potential. It's happened a few times, and it certainly is a really tough gig. I mean, it speaks to the quality of, we know how good Paddy Cripps is as a player. Ed Snooze is also really good at his job, so it's nice to see that he's gone well tonight, and he'll be better for the run, but it can be tough to work through at times.
What about you then? Have you worked on other things during the pre-season, different positions to give you that outlet in case you are getting locked down in the midfield?
Yeah, there has been a little bit of that. I'm always working on how I can influence the games in other ways when, maybe it's not going for you in the midfield of an evening, or are you able to influence the scoreboard a little bit more? So that's what pre-season's great for, trying to work on those sort of things and adding another layer to your game where you can help impact in different ways.
And what young kids have impressed you this pre-season? Obviously, you got a couple of young draftees there. You had 3 picks in the top 25. Are they looking any good?
Yeah, they are. It's good to see Cody Angove, I think, has come on in this fourth quarter. And he's got a lot of run and dash. He's super quick, which I wish I had a little bit of that. But he's looked great. James Leake's also been fantastic this pre-season. And I think Harry Rouston, if he hasn't come on yet, he's a chance as well. And he's had a great pre-season too. We've seen Ollie Hannaford as well this whole game. So.
We was hoping they put Cody on a little earlier because he did about 50 laps in front of us. Yeah, and he just got on.
I think that's what they do, is they're trying to get the coach's attention. I'm feeling good. I'm ready to go. So no doubt he's ready and raring to get out there, and he already had a little bit of candy and a run along the wing here I saw before, so that's good to see him out there.
Well, Tommy, we appreciate your time, of course, and all the very best for your recovery in the early part of the season. Hopefully we see you after your first bye and the Giants get off to an absolute flyer.
Hope so, guys. Thank you.
Well done, Jono, and Eddie Benson. Big thanks to Tom Green. We saw another example there of not 15.
Yeah.
Lucky we feel pretty frustrated.
Well, that's the opposite of what Bucks was saying before, because you're going to kick that ball, you want that person to be able to probably play on anyway, but not in the back pocket. That's where you get yourself into a little bit of strife. And as Lockie said, he thought it was 15. The umpire was very quick to say no.
We might need a 25-metre mark as well if we're going to be calling him like this.
This is where we get the Fox Lab team out to give us the meterage, all the graphics.
Pretty sure Lockie's going to kick it more than 15 metres. Oh no, that's right on the edge. That's paid. Ash. Good revision. Out to Stone.
I see like the idea. You don't want it to be arbitrary. You want to actually call it 15 metres, but I don't mind that the umpires call the first couple of shortish kicks.
Yes.
I don't mind that they call them play on to set the standard early in the game, that you're not just going to get away with kick marking here and taking 13-metre marks.
Themselves a little bit of a bind here. They're going to need to be pretty good with their hands or feet as Ash takes it, extends out to the width to the right of Whitfield, and now ahead to Ward. Green leads up to him, but he just can't work himself clear of Cowan, who's being pesky in us. Again, the Blues defence been consistent. I'm not sure what that kick was from Whitfield, but it's marked by Leake.
Effective.
Yeah,
That's what that kick was. And
well, this kid, as I mentioned a few times, for a guy that we haven't seen before, he's great size, and he's done a few nice things tonight.
I think he has. He's actually played below his size at times on the ground and looked like he's shown strength and agility, but that was great for a big fella to be able to take that grab.
And far off the mark.
Right out, please. Carlton, clear.
Sometimes those unconventional forward entries, when you're trying to lace them out, that one had just an attempted talk that went wrong, and the Carlton defenders were all out of position.
I would love you as a coach if you accepted that, Bucks. It's okay to kick one step tall. Here we go again.
Play on.
One step tops.
Littering. Coward. That's the way to do it. Back to Sard. Lines up Fogarty in the middle. He's got just a step off. Doherty, who started and spent most of the first half on the bench. That's it out wide again. Gabrielli guides it for Elijah Holtz.
Even there, Ango, the young fella, he's following instructions. He was not looking to come up to that mark at all. He was a good 30 metres back and then ran away further to clog up potential leading zones, which gave the ball carrier so much more time and space.
It looks distinctly different to last year, doesn't it? A bit of observation.
A bit of a fold back defence, which has created a few more holes through the midfield for Carlton to use. So there's a bit of tightening up to do there for the Giants.
Alistair Williams tucks in the chest mark.
There's nothing to say that it can't work, but it just puts a little bit of extra pressure probably on your mids to close that space down, but particularly your forwards that need to come all the way up to fill that space that you're speaking of, so your defenders and possibly your wingers can get a little bit deeper in defence to support.
And then springboard from there.
Yes.
But it's something, there's just been a little too much drop-off that Carlton have taken advantage of today.
Williams taking all the allocated time, maybe then some. Gets his breath back. He's turned to wobble one forward.
It looks like he was having a chat to a couple of people in the crowd as he was lining up from that, so he's having a good time. Scoreboard reads well.
Here he is again, Lee. So this time across half back, mainly AFL last year. See whether he can play a bit of midfield and a bit of forward. So far, so good.
Well, you touched on his height. He's 188 centimetres. So he spoke about plays a little bit smaller at times, meaning he's good at ground level and he's taken a couple of handy marks. So with a little bit of time, a bit of size on that body, good hybrid height.
Paddy Cripps is sitting at 195. Yeah, big boy.
I saw him the other week when you see him in person. He puts the modern player in perspective.
He's in the ruck at the moment. He's the right size for a second ruckman.
His pirouette there, but there was some holding. Board. Oh, clear path docket. It wasn't going to be paid anyway. Promptly drops it, gives it back to Fantasia, who is not bad on his right foot, but not quite good enough that time. Just joined us, particularly in the first half, 12 disposals and a couple of goals. Himmelberg decides to take off. 2 bounces before the pressure came, and he almost shut him down. Cripps to Sard, clamps were on from Jordy Daniels.
You're looking at it at the moment, short of not wanting any injuries, that's number one of what you want to see. You still want to see your stoppage structures in play. Lockie Whitfield a little distressed. Saw Jono and Eddie would be distressed on the sideline as well. They were wearing suits in a 37-degree day.
It's cooled right down now, Buck, so it's okay down here.
Beautiful.
Lockie Whitfield might be feeling the ramifications of that contact in the middle of the field only moments ago. He's up to 28 disposals. He's had another solid day. Lockie Ash has had 25 for the Giants.
Got one as well. A little bit of cramp starting to creep in as well. In the heat, there's where
Connor Ogden went off. He played 100% of the game until the time that we saw him get that little sort of quad cramp when we were talking to Tom Green, but hasn't been back since, I think.
watch as well. Big game coming up. Gold Coast People First Stadium and hosting the Swans. Amazingly, even though they made the grand final, some people have the Swans not even in their 8.
No, I don't see that.
Are you some people?
No, I've got them all in there, folks. I've got about 14 teams in my 8.
We don't want to talk about it. It's not so much if you think they're a top 8 side or not, it's whether they're better than 10 other teams in the competition, because it goes so deep.
Well, you see a team in one of these games you're watching, I reckon they can make the 8, and then you go, who does it mean can't make that? That's the hard bit.
I think there could be up to 4 changes from last year's top 8.
It could be up to 8.
Well, you're saying that Brisbane's not making it either.
No.
And Carroll got forward. Elijah Hollands will have the shot, he'll have the stab, and he will kick the goal.
Outside of Richmond, North Melbourne and West Coast, I think everyone has accepted that they're in a development phase still.
Yes.
I'm sure they don't. They still want to make the 8, but there's 15 sides that would have absolutely have legitimate sights on playing finals this year, which makes it fascinating with that level of competition.
That's the most beautiful thing of this time of year. that could be true. It could be true.
Bucks, what would be your approach to GWS leading into their first game? 2 really ordinary practice games, and now, trying to build that confidence, I suppose, leading into what is the start of the year.
I think there's as many examples of having really poor practice matches and then coming and starting the season with a bang as there is, poor practice match form rolling into the start of the year. So I don't really think it's anything to be too concerned about. But there is a lot of talent on that list. They've got a lot of experience and shared connection over the last 3 or 4 years. They do come up against a pretty handy opponent in Collingwood in that first game on Sunday week, and they'll be absolutely focused on starting in that first 5 or 10 minutes in that game is crucial to set the tone. That's what the Giants will be focusing on the next 8 or 9 days.
Carlton Hines down the It's a good question though, John. It really is.
I think this group's mature enough and have played enough football together to know that you can ramp this up.
Hines for keeps to the fly.
Talk about blokes putting their hand up and saying, "I'm ready to go if you need me, coach."
Yeah.
We've seen him as a marking defender, an intercept defender, can play one-on-one. When he's in the back half, he's really strong, and he's continued to put his hand up as a marking target forward. 6'4", finds the ball at the highest point, finishes relatively well. I think his work rate to defend has been pretty strong also.
Does not look out of place from what we've seen so far. Late last year, so far this season for a 3rd goal. No problems there. Pops it up on the roof of the stand. Collects the high fives and other accolades. I'm very happy with what he's produced today, and his coach will as well. That's a nice little fly.
He's played really high game time too. He's played 91% of the game, which is the highest for a Carlton player. Usually the key defenders are the ones that play the highest game time, but in front of the ball and the work rate required, he's been able to play over 90% of the game, and looks like he's as strong as anyone out there at the moment.
He's had a really solid night. Couldn't ask much more of him. The 13 disposals, the 3 goals. Another bit I like about him, he's got the boots of a forward now, Bucks. He's on the lavender.
That's all right.
A little bit leerier than what we may have seen in previous years.
Fuchsia? Or was it definitely lavender?
I've never heard that other word, so I'm going to go with lavender.
Lilac?
Look at him. Modern player.
Spent it on something. Not that they'd be buying their own boots. Free kick in the middle. Daniels. Sneaks around Doherty. So that means the kick can go all the way to the goal square. Hogan severely outnumbered. Jones picked it up well. So we've only got rewarded for the tackle. It's Matt Carroll. Those players started seeing action until the final quarter.
Doesn't matter if it's a breaking match or a home and away or a final. The desperate 1%ers and defensive actions will be shown on loop in team meetings, and that tackle by Jack Silvani, the desperation in a game that doesn't mean anything. It's just the want to compete and to make life difficult for your opposition. That's always great to see that.
So Grant. Jack Buckley this time. They're just rolling over the line again.
The Giants defenders were the ones that had played the highest game time. Iden has not come back on after playing 100% of game time to when he got that cramp and went off. And Jack Buckley and Taylor are the other guys that have played high game time.
Trying to connect down the line with Cadman. Quite find the fist with the ball on that occasion. Tries to make up for it and bring after it. He's rousted, so he does see at least a few minutes late. Kicks it forward, clearing, taking no chances.
Been very sound in defence. We know historically the importance of a team defence, let alone just your back 6 or 7, and led by that man in particular.
But it hasn't felt like a Wiegering dominated defence today, has it?
Which I think's a positive. Yeah, we know how sound he is one-on-one. He's had Jesse Hogan for the majority of the night.
Ball. Collins with the run to the inside. Carroll flashing by, but Ware steps in for the Giants. Out to Angove. Haynes didn't mark, so Bedford gets the opportunity. In the aftermath, back to Ware again, to the square. Shevsky is down there, so is Cadman. Well, it hasn't been a great afternoon and early evening for the Giants, but Cadman has been a real plus, as we've said a few times.
Well, this is just the cherry on top sort of marks. These are the big pack marks that you might take one a game. I reckon he's had 3 or 4 already tonight. For those that remember him as an 18-year-old coming through the junior system, that's why he went number 1.
Larson at goal, and pops through for a goal. Giants, Carlton on the cusp of breaking the century. The Giants have just gone through the 50-point barrier, so only 7 goals. 7-12, 54. That is Cadman's first, but he has done some nice things across the field. He and Hogan can work together in tandem with all of the smalls and mediums around. They haven't been great tonight, but it can be pretty potent up there.
You're talking, Dale, about the development, and I think it has been quite linear, and he's come along really well. And he will have more football go through him, in the next 12 months at the very earliest. And there's a gap between showing glimpses and then becoming the man. If more football goes through him, he still needs to make the most of that. Rather than just taking 2 or 3 contested marks here or there and having 3 shots on goal. If there's more football that goes through him, then he'll be expected to deliver on that.
3 wins out of 3 last year at this venue for the Giants, and we saw the 3 games they have again. There was a couple of tight ones too, wasn't there, against the Saints, who almost overran them, and then they came back against Hawthorn. Tom Green in his hometown, kicking the winning goal. As we said, very well-attended games these days. Giants in Canberra, Doggies, Port, and North Melbourne. Teams are probably looking at the fixture and seeing when they play the Western
Exactly. There'll be a lot of people come through their timeline.
And you just joined us likely to miss 6 weeks at least. So I wonder if he'll be back in time to play the Giants.
You did mention before, though, Bucks, and watching that game yesterday after Marcus went off, there was a lot of other players that stood up. Yes, it's a practice match, but from what we saw, there was an opportunity for this next group to...
Liver was the mainstay, so you know you're going to have a ball in and under. I thought Garcia looked really good in the second half, and Sanders has got good clean hands, but it was their general sort of evenness in their midfield.
Right, how about that for a move? Georgie Gilbert with a quite used to him kicking goal of the day.
On the opposite foot, if you don't mind, as well. It's a really healthy scoreline as well. I've seen some really accurate goal kicking in some other games earlier this week already. That's why you don't handle when you're tied up against the pocket. They've actually had 1 less inside 50, the Blues, believe it or not. 48 inside 50s for 30 scores, 15 goals, 15.
So, Dale, are you a believer in the Blues? Do you have them contenders?
Yes, I am. I was going to just ask you to define my level of belief. I think I agree with Bucks to a certain degree. I think there should be as many teams as we've ever had that think they can legitimately win the premiership this year. Maybe it goes as far as 7 to 8 this year. I reckon previously it's been the 4 to 5. But what we've seen from the Blues, and the Giants probably fall into that bucket from last year, absolutely they can. They need to be fit and healthy. Injuries will play a huge role one way or another this year for all clubs. And then at the right time, you've just got to execute. And I think the Giants are the prime example of what we saw last year in basically 2 quarters, 2 games in finals, and the season's over, unfortunately, because it didn't get done.
It was actually a familiar story for the Giants all year, wasn't it? They had bad quarters. And it cost them at the pointy end. But the Blues, until they met the Giants, were right up there last year. The injuries probably catching up with them as much as anything else. Disappointing way to end the season. As Frankie Evans doing everything he could to stop Himmelberg, who probably got legged. Lyon was the call. Red bashes it back. Cottrell is sitting duck for Jones.
I think what we've seen more this year than we've ever seen is you can't be good the whole season. It's too long. Extra games, the challenges, the evenness of the competition. I think every team will have a lull, but we'll all question them. Are they legit? Can they keep it up? Can they respond? Then it comes down to timing. Can you prime your players as a collective to be ready to go when it really matters?
It's a long-run example of that, where they won their first 7, only won 1 of their next 7, and then win 7 of their last 9 in the home and away. So they, those times that you say where you're going to have a downturn, how do you handle those? You need a bit of experience and a bit of strength in leadership to be able to endure that period.
We saw the opposite, I guess, of the Brisbane Lions.
Bursting Callahan, eye to the square, Hogan.
Well, the Giants themselves in Kingsley's first year, 3 years ago, started slowly and then came home hard, as did Carlton in 2023.
Yes, yeah, they did together, didn't they, both these teams?
To become preliminary finalists from being
side of the draw.
I think 12th and 13th respectively halfway through that season. So Brisbane weren't far away from that in 24, eventual premiers.
Hogan, benefit of the free kick. Almost point blank range, he pops it through. It's 3 for Jesse. Green's kicked 4 behinds for the night.
That's how we started last year with his hopes.
Yeah.
Wasn't his lack of not getting the football, it was just the conversion piece, which was highly unlikely for him last year. So hopefully that's washed past him this season as they get ready. It's a good return for Jess. I mean, the 3 goals are solid in any game, but he hasn't dominated at all tonight. He's gone through the pecking order of Kelly, Whitfield, Cornelio, Green, a couple of key defenders. Mumford in the back row as well, just to keep a watchful eye over it.
Funny how the big tough ruckmen just always end up being the partial providers and caregivers of the bench or the group itself, isn't it?
Yep. Anyone else?
Dean Cox for Sydney.
Put you on the spot. We'll stick with Monkey then.
Anthony Rocker's another one.
It's Carroll, who's lost his footing. Hammer and tong at the moment. Enthusiasm. Sard completely caught at that time. And he's grimacing in pain too. It's just a bit of tiredness and a bit of a whack somewhere. Maybe a bit of cramp. Towards the goal square. Multiple fist fly. Grabbed by Lord. Waited the right moment to release the handball. Haynes gets involved in the chain, as did Akers, as does Hollins. Doherty tried to.
Had a few fumbles tonight. Sam Doherty hasn't been his cleanest. Once again, hopefully he's better for the run.
So amazing to see him come back and play in that final. Brave and a bit surprising in a way that they picked him.
I think we're all just grateful he got through.
Yeah, absolutely. Leake has a couple of cracks at it. Still he goes. James Lee just got rid of it. His game hasn't dropped off at all. Stayed strong through the whole 4 quarters. Hollins making an impression across half-back. Young, back to the wing. Elijah Hollins. That's the claim that he was taken high, but he was the hanger-onerer there. Elijah Hollins. Mark moves forward about 5 metres as he drops back.
Another drop back. So that's clearly coached. And I'd say that's happens around half of the time. I mean, half of the clubs would say stand up and make them kick over you, and
It's just a wear on the ground that happens. What impact that?
I know some clubs are specific enough, maybe not in a trial game, but depending on who's got the football. And there's some plays you want to force to kick, particularly in their back half.
You wouldn't be thrilled with that, would you, if you suddenly realise that they're only doing one thing to you and not to anyone else?
I think you let them know about it. We want you to kick the football today. Good luck. But I do like the uniqueness of it. It's a tactical play now. But you all need to be on the same page. And as we've seen tonight, the Giants haven't been given too much space at certain times.
The player's heading over the line out of bounds on the full from Blake Akers.
They'll often have as much as who could potentially receive a trigger handball, and get past the mark as well, because you can't defend that guy anymore being asked to stand. Whereas if you're 5 metres away, you can see that run coming and you can't get past that first line of pressure.
I think everyone waiting now for the siren. Ash almost hurt his elbow there. Trying to get to the right places here for the forward stoppage. Moment to just grab it out of the ruck and slam it on the boot is gone. Fogarty tracks it down. Lord just tempers his kick at the last moment. Akers from the side. Fist from Rouston. Picked up by Hewitt. Quick snap from Evans. And he puts it through to kick a goal in Carlton colours. Gets an opportunity. Craving to be more than a bit part player at his third club.
His teammates will love that. Just an opportunity to get around him, welcome him to the team. He's been running around, a bit of pressure, played his role relatively well. Always good to be able to finish off and kick a goal with that contribution as well.
Just to complement the Blues, but also probably highlight the poor defence from the Giants. That's 49 inside 50s for the Blues. That's 4 less than what the Giants have had this evening. 31 scoring opportunities. So more than every 2 times they go in, they're scoring. And it's roughly 1 in 3 times they go inside forward 50, they kick a goal.
Beautiful light camera, gorgeous sight. His closing minutes. Don't forget there's more footy to come next. Gold Coast versus Sydney. Blues aren't finished yet. Cottrell. Who are you tipping in that one, Del? Gold Coast and Sydney tonight.
Gold Coast.
No go tonight.
Yes, they are. I'm happy to say that. I'll put that on the record if I have to.
If you have to.
If I have to, because I like to pick my top 8 with about a week or 2 to go in the season. Traditionally, I like to hold off. But I think they're ready.
Best time to do it.
Yeah, a bit more insight in what's going on. No, I think they are ready and more than capable.
Cottrell, who's born on the 29th of February, so he doesn't get birthday for 3 of the 4 years.
Versus 7.
He's only 6
This might be a silly question. Is how many on those other years has he celebrated
which one?
On the 1st of March, or do you roll back one?
I have to ask him,
Yeah.
Seems an excitable type. I reckon he'd bring it forward.
One of the burning questions in the AFL. He gets involved, Cottrell, to Doherty. Something for the Doc.
Yeah, the defensive efforts have definitely dropped off. There's a little bit more free scoring and opportunities in the front half than you would find in the first 5 minutes of any game. It's cream on the cake for the Blues. Frankie Evans to be able to kick a goal, and then Sam Docker to be able to hit the scoreboard. It's for your boots time.
Running guys, set up, please.
The Lord's had a solid night. He's had a couple of good touches late in this game as well. He's had up to 18 disposals.
Yeah, 7 this quarter.
Yeah, it's solid.
10 for the last quarter.
Yeah, so there's little signs. It's not just the big boys that are prepping. There's also this next group that are trying to push their way through and put their best foot forward tonight. He's had a solid game.
Still happening for him. Off to Rouston. It's full of energy. Shevsky. Medford charging through the 50. And that's one of their better passages of play for the night, the Giants. Finished off by Toby Bedford.
Pick that up. Snooze.
Snooze, yeah, that's his nickname.
I like it. His career's taken an interesting trajectory, hasn't it? You know, high forward that couldn't get a game for Melbourne. You know,
In a good team, really.
Yeah, absolutely. But he worked his way through the VFL and developed his craft. Giants saw an opportunity there, and he actually played that role really well as a high forward. But when they needed,
first year there, didn't they? And then last year not quite as much, and then they moved him.
but then they needed to find someone who could run with through the midfield. It's brilliant coaching because he's as good as any at being able to stop his direct opponent, but then get damaging on the other side.
I think it also complements his mindset and his willingness to change his role selflessly to be that negator.
What about putting him on a 195 centimetre dual Brownlow medalist? So if you can do that role, you can do any.
Tagged the likes of Warner Day and Butters last year. Missed that qualifying final with a calf injury.
Insufficient intent. You enjoy that conversation when the coach comes in and says, you're going to go to Cripps. You know, really? You know, he's half a metre taller than me, but I'll try my best.
Taylor didn't mark. Not long. Jones in the front.
How can the Giants defender tap that down?
You're right.
I think it might have been Cal Ward drifting across trying to impact the contest, which there was none of.
He spoiled his own man.
He did.
It's going well. Cal Ward did kick one the wrong way last year, didn't he? Remember, he kicked a 55-metre kick the wrong way. Even in his, 16th season.
Yep, over 300 games.
Remember Cooter did that early in the game. There's not that many people that have done it.
I think it'll be great. I think I had a moment a long time ago and I forgot which way we were going, so I did a handball. Just I thought I'll give it off to someone else because I don't know if I'm going left or right here.
And did you have it right?
No, I just let someone else distribute the footy in those moments.
I'm glad your story was about you doing a handball, but given you said only the greats do it.
No, I was looking at Bucks when I was saying that.
Well, if you're dropping Cooter, who I thought was his best footy when we were playing late 90s, early 2000s, was as good as any. Carlton fans love you.
Extraordinary level he got to, wasn't it? Carlton fans will remember that, but they'll also be very excited about the present and the future from what we've seen tonight. They're defending here, but they spent a lot of time with the football tonight. They got an excellent tune-up. The Carlton fans that have made the trip to Canberra tonight will walk away with a nice smile on their face. The new and the old, such as Nick Haynes, Sam Doherty, because they've all played their part. In the end, they've won by 58 points, 18-16, 124 to 9-12-66.
Would have been speaking 27 goals. I know it's a high-scoring game.
All right, well, we don't have much time to recap here because there's more footy about to start. We're heading further north to the Gold Coast. And the Sydney Swans, they've got a lot to prove this year. Their final head out will be against the Gold Coast.
All right, folks, there we go. It was the Blue Baggers here today. 18-16 big winners, 124 over the Giants, 9-12-66. Another good game from Carlton. They look on song for this season coming up. Putting on 6 goals, 4 in that final term. The Giants, 3 goals, 3 in the final term. Of course, we had the poll today. 61% went for Carlton. You got it right, folks, today. You got it right. I think the next game on somewhere around the traps is, I think it's Gold Coast Suns and the Sydney Swans. I'm not sure whether I'll be covering that or not, or just doing the second half. But stay tuned just in case I am. There we go. But that's all we've got for this one. Happy Blue Bagger supporters out there. I think they've got a bright season ahead of them this year. And of course, the Giants, they've got a bit of work to do before they kick off round 1 of the opening game, 2025 AFL Premiership season coming up in a week's time. But it was another good game. Both teams pretty well got under it unscathed. It's just the one for the Carlton that had that little bit of a tweak in the ankle. That being said, shouldn't be too bad. All right, folks, thanks all for coming in. I will see you on the next football game. You've got to love footy. You've got to love footy.